What we do here is go back.
Hello. I keep saying I need to come up with like a way of introducing myself properly. Like, hello there, everybody. How are we all? You know, some fucking thing is. Ow, ow. That a bollocks, man. Fuck's sake. How are we all? Are we well? I hope so. I mean, I can't really do a lot about it if you're not. Other than maybe try and distract you from whatever malady is afflicting you right now. Hello there on the YouTubes as well. How are we all? And more importantly, how are you, Helena?
I'm not doing too badly. I am full of food.
Well, that's the main thing.
Forward to some Laura Koonsberg. How about you?
Well,
sorry. Award-winning journalist Laura Koonsberg.
Award-winning journalist Laura Koonsberg. Yes, that is true. I mean, to be fair, Hitler won Time Man of the Year, so you know, awards are hit and miss, shall we say?
True.
You know. Yes. Also, did you see Curtis was on GB News?
I did. We reacted to it on stream yesterday.
Oh well, I won't bother asking you to do that again now. Then I'll save that for the week. That's in the content bank.
It's definitely good stuff. I thought Curtis held himself very well.
He held himself. Good lord, on national television.
On national television.
Outrageous! What a cheeky young scamp. Yes. What have you been up to anyway?
It's from Sunday, so been playing Magic. Then I went out for food. It's same Sundays we always do. 'Cause life just is the same all the time. Although to be fair, apparently because I spend 2 nights a week out playing Magic, I get more socialization than most people, according to the Financial Times.
Well, that is literally true. Yeah. Ironically, the Magic people are the socialites now.
It's true. I mean, honestly, literally, all of the people where see all this male loneliness epidemic, and not enough of them are playing Magic the Gathering. Clearly.
Okay, but what I mean, percentage-wise, what are we talking here? Because I imagine Sausage Party is all I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, this basically is.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, no, that's fair enough. you were supposed to sort of say no, actually, but no. Apparently, it's been confirmed.
But, I mean, to be fair, the people in Nottingham, it just seems to be a pretty good mix. But mostly, broadly, internationally, it's more a sausage party.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
What have you been up to?
Sausage parties. But intentionally
Excellent.
so. No, I'm joking. Well, I suppose technically it was a sausage bar. I went to the football, and that's mostly men. You
True,
don't think
true.
about it like that. The number of dicks that go through the turnstiles. I don't think you usually think of the whole person rather than just their penis. But it is largely penises going through. Oh, God, that's a weird way of looking at the world. Oh, God, I just got an insight into what it's like to be a TERF. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, no.
Literally, that is exactly what it is like being a TERF.
Yeah.
It's constantly thinking about other people's genitals.
Exactly. You don't think of people, you just think of penises and vaginas. That is all that exist.
It's true. The gamete potential.
True. If I hear the phrase secondary sex characteristics once more, I swear to God I'm going to fucking lose it. I don't need to be hearing that phrase ever again. Just shut the fuck up.
Cather is asking, did Birmingham win the sports ball?
They did 1-0. It was actually not a bad game. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I should probably know whether or not Forest won the sports ball, but I wasn't paying attention.
Well, I won't ruin it for you then. It's a good game.
Was it?
Yeah, it genuinely was. Yeah.
Good. I'll catch up then.
Yeah. For my viewers, Man United lost, so we're going to have another selection of Mark Goldbridge going fucking mental, which should be fun.
I just went to the BBC Sport website, and the second headline is just maybe the worst Manchester United team in history.
There
I
you
think
go.
it's quite funny.
Yeah, true. Also, oh my God, before we even get into it, because this might not even crop up, I don't know what they're going to talk about today. But did you see that? The British government, right? Is a cabinet government. So they in theory discuss things in cabinet between the different ministers and come up with governmental policy. So they have literally already, their existence is a subcommittee, i.e. a selection from the members of parliament to become heads of those departments that then get together as a committee to discuss government policy. Even that had to be quangified.
It's true.
There is now a mini committee within cabinet to deal with Trump. So he's even had to quango his own fucking cabinet. Although technically it's not quango, it's just go, I guess. But you know what I mean? Like he can't even just have a fucking policy from cabinet anymore. Oh, also
task force. How are we supposed to have a policy if we don't have a task force first?
Well, what my big question is, why are these fuckers being allowed to? Why isn't there a subcommittee for it? Who's going to keep... Who subcommittees the subcommittee? That's what I look for. So well done, Keir. I'm literally being the most pointless human being in the existence of humanity.
Is there anyone... Has there ever been anyone more pointless?
I genuinely don't
Keir
think
Starmer?
so, no. Like, literally, if it was just a spherical ball of... If a ping-pong ball has more to it than Keir Starmer. There's more detail and depth to a ping-pong ball.
Yeah.
He's fucking worthless. Not at all the most evil person ever, because at least that would be interesting. He literally is not capable of being interesting enough to be that evil. He'll be a bit evil, like he'll fucking means test whether your granny's gonna fucking freeze to death this winter, but like he's not gonna open a concentration camp because that would be a policy.
Literally, that's be the slogan at the next election. Labour, fewer policies than Hitler.
You know what? Humble brag. Yeah, no, I'm down for it. Let's go. That's one of the few things he could actually say that would make him sound good. I have fewer policies than Hitler. I mean, okay. I mean, it's a weird flex, but it is sort of a flex. I'll give him that. Fucking hell. Also, that would need government spending. We need to actually build public housing, or very temporary housing, it has to be said, but housing nonetheless. And that's just no, please. Anyway, yes, award-winning journalism from the award-winning journalist.
Absolutely. Time for some incredibly hard-hitting, award-winning journalism.
Oh God, I mean, I haven't pre-watched, but someone in chat did mention that one of the panelists this week is literally Piers fucking Morgan.
That's like the thing. Is he not like a rotating fucking?
He was
moment
on
thing
just
the
before
BBC?
Christmas. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He's got a fucking YouTube show to do. Stop harassing him. Jesus.
The world is shifting, but the shape is not yet clear. This is the Israel-Gaza border. No ceasefire yet. Instead, the familiar smoke from explosions on the horizon. But there is hope. Hamas has just published the names of 3 hostages it says it will release, including the...
You going to mention who caused that smoke? Because you're making it seem like that smoke's just there, like, naturally or some shit. It's on the border between Gaza and Israel. It could have been anyone. Who knows?
Yeah, like Gazan teenager hit by munitions.
Yeah.
It's just fucking from the ether.
Yeah. Palestinian house dives in way of innocent missile. Yeah.
name of a young British Israeli woman, Emily Damari.
Like, literally, did you see Keir Starmer's fucking actual, like, letter, not letter, but statement he put out about this, about the ceasefire deal when it came out?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Passive voice until the final moment.
Unbelievable. So, Israelis had been slaughtered and massacred, sorry, yeah, and Palestinians had, unfortunately, lost their lives.
Their lives.
What, down the back of the sofa, you cunt? What are you talking about?
I hate him so much.
I just
fucking hate him.
He's fucking awful. Absolutely awful.
A new American president, second time round, tomorrow, the start of...
Honestly, you know, it couldn't be more Trump, the crypto rug pull.
Oh my god, it's so fucking funny.
And just to show how absolutely pathetic and mental capitalism is, with one piece of obviously illegitimate fuckery and corruption, he's fucking catapulted himself into the top 25 richest people on Earth.
Yeah, the market cap closed, I think it was like, when we covered it yesterday, the market closed like $6 billion or something crazy.
No.
The first 20% of the coins alone.
Oh, whoa. No, we've gone far past that. We are in multiples of that now.
Brilliant.
The wallet at the time it went out at 58 billion or something, absolutely fucking absurd. And obviously he's rug pulled everybody. And
he's getting the 80% of the fucking supply is held by Donald Trump. What the fuck else did they think was going to happen?
Mental. And they'll still fucking support him, even though he's literally just stolen tens of billions from them. Amazing.
It's just, they cannot see. They somehow just can't see that it's a gigantically obvious grift. Yeah. Like all the emails of like the financing. Did you see? I don't know if you saw. There was a really interesting video done by CNN about people who've been scammed by the donation links. Apparently some guy with some old guys, maybe 5-year-old guy with dementia, had given.
Hang on. Are we talking about Donald Trump now, or is this a different person?
It's a different person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he gave $200,000 in donations to the Trump campaign because he kept forgetting that he donated and kept getting emails going, "You've let down Donald Trump. How dare you? You personally are going to let America die to sleepy Joe Biden and the Democrats." And then he goes, "Well, I guess I have to because otherwise I failed Donald Trump." And he just kept forgetting. And they're all like,
and I presume they're not going to refund that money.
Nope.
No, of course not. Fucking scum. I mean, just CNN, awful. Yeah.
Yeah. CNN did contact, because that happened to Democrats as well, but to a lesser extent. And when CNN contacted the Democrats, they did refund the money, but the GOP didn't. I wonder why.
Interesting. Fucking Christ. Also, I can't take my eyes off the Nossie. It's right there. You can all see it. You all know exactly what I'm talking about.
So why would, if you have that much like,
it's winking at me.
Why do you have your tie done up so fucking tight?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's the only thing holding him in. He'd spill out like a fucking bag full of jelly or something.
No, he has lost weight. I wonder if he's been on the Ozempic.
Not Owen Jones. Fuck's sake, Alex Jones definitely has. I don't know if you've seen Alex Jones lately.
100%.
He looks like he's fucking had a bout of chemo or something. What the fuck? How much weight has he lost? Mental. But the thing is, like, when you go down that quickly, you don't look healthy. You look like there's something vastly wrong with you. You look like you've I don't know, cancer's eating away at you.
Sorry, Atomic Power says that Alex Jones looks like Ming the Merciless now, which I think is pretty apt.
He does, yeah, a little bit.
Of Trump 2.0. We'll be on the ground in Gaza, where so many lives have been destroyed. And we'll hear from one of the families anxiously waiting for news about the hostages. We'll be in Washington, D.C., where Team Trump have already started their celebrations. Priti Patel, the shadowed foreign secretary, is there.
Can she? I mean, she's just got resting smug face. She's literally not even saying anything, and she looks like she's sniffing her own fart.
Oh, has she somehow like borrowed Dylan Burns' chin and jawline?
Yeah, there is a little bit of that going on. Look, I don't want to be that person, but she's clockable with that chin.
ASAP Clocky.
And back home, Cabinet Minister Darren Jones is with us. How should the UK deal with an unpredictable American president? And one of the first things Trump will have to deal with at home is the catastrophe in Los Angeles. I've been speaking to the Oscar winner, Adrian Brody.
It's a terribly difficult time for our community, and there's a lot of suffering in Los Angeles at the moment and a lot of uncertainty.
Yes, I'm sure you, multi-millionaire fucking Oscar winner or whatever, I'm sure you're really suffering right now. You could always just go to your fourth house in Malibu instead, I suppose. I'll be honest, I think I know which bit of the show we can skip.
Yeah, already way ahead of you, yeah.
Like, usually, like, you're like, oh, we'll see, you never know, right? But, like, even if we have to cut it short, I'm not fucking watching that bollocks. It's not happening.
Stop it. Get some help.
Morning. And with us on this huge day, Trump whisperer, Piers Morgan, Imran.
I think she means cunt. Literally a cunt. Look at him.
Yeah.
Fucking prick. That's the deep political insights you're going to get tonight, is me just going, you are a wanker, mate. Because, I mean, look at him. He's a fucking cunt. Not a man who works as a cunt.
I can't.
Ahmed, social media supremo, who's known for going after Trump and Elon Musk. We'll hear more about that later. And Fiona Hill, who was chief of staff to Theresa May, was part of the first UK delegation to the Trump White House. We all remember that.
Why do we have Tories? Why do we only have Tories?
It's literally just 3 Tories. Well, 4.
Four
Tories, yeah. Award-winning. National independent fucking neutral broadcaster that everyone has to fucking pay for.
Yeah, award-winning Tory, Laura Greensburg.
Quite so.
All of them shortly, but let's take a look at the headlines in the papers, which now feel a bit out of date, of course. It's a dramatic morning of news. The Observer leads on fears for Gaza after a ceasefire. It's not yet clear now if that is going to come into force. It's been delayed. The Mail on Sunday goes on Donald Trump. It says Donald Trump's team are planning revenge on Labour for supporting the Democrats in the election.
Is Mandelson at risk from MAGA? Well, considering that Mandelson probably has enough dirt on Trump and vice versa, it's mutually assured destruction, I feel.
True.
I presume that's why they've sent him over there, because they can bond over their time on the island.
And the Sunday Times splashes on extra time for kids in exams, but has more on Trump's potential revenge, suggesting Peter Mandelson could be blocked as ambassador there. And both the Mirror and the Express lead on the NHS. But as we come on air, although the ceasefire in Gaza has not yet come into force, Hamas has announced the names of the 3 hostages expected to be released today. That includes the 28-year-old British...
Can I just ask, Laura, do you have any of the names of the 90 Israeli detainees? They're not hostages, obviously, they're detainees. And why does Israel have that many fucking hostages/detainees? Does anyone want to analyse that part of the discussion at all? No, just... These are the only 3 people that matter in all of this.
Exactly. Yeah. What's a Palestinian detainee? I don't know of such a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I have to just go back to Bassem Youssef. How many sons of bitches? What's the ratio?
Literally.
He couldn't have been more spot on.
Like, literally, the way in which we can continually treating the lives of these hostages. I'm like, well, they're fucking alive, aren't they?
Yeah.
Over 40,000 Palestinians can't say the same, can they?
Especially given they've been kept fucking safe by Hamas, playing presumably some sort of missile whack-a-mole, having to move them from place to place as everything gets fucking destroyed, or not releasing them it's straight into the fucking oncoming bullets of the IDF, because they've killed plenty of them as well.
Yeah, literally, they killed 3 of their own hostages. It's just the way we're leaving a white flag.
Also, you know who I feel sorry for? The poor spunk extractors that were now going to be put out of work by the ceasefire.
True. The Jisraeli
Defence Force. R.I.P. lads. You've done sterling work, honest.
Israeli woman Emily Damari, who, like so many, her family have been waiting anxiously for her release. She's 28 years old and she was taken on the 7th of October 2023 from a kibbutz, and we'll bring you everything that we can do as this story develops in the next hour. These are the live pictures of what's going on the border between Israel and Gaza. That familiar sight of smoke, more explosions and strikes have taken place in the last few hours as the ceasefire has been delayed. This is Khan Yunis, the city in southern Gaza. You can see people out and about there. So much of that city has been destroyed, like much of the Gaza Strip. People were celebrating there a couple of days ago at the prospect of peace. This morning, nobody there can be quite sure what is going on. And we'll hear from a charity worker in Gaza, hopefully, a bit later on in the show.
Hopefully.
Then let's show you what's happening in Israel, in Tel Aviv. This is what's become known as Hostages Square. You can see there the number 470 representing the days since families have been waiting for their...
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. All of these people being released, that could have happened a year ago.
Yep.
That could have happened 12 months ago or more. Literally, you've had fucking the likes of Smotrich coming out and saying, no, we purposely blocked it. We could have had this basically the same deal 12 months ago.
Did you hear the story about right at the start of the conflict when a bunch of the hostage families went to Netanyahu demanding he do a ceasefire deal, and they paid somebody to be a plant in the audience who didn't actually have any family hostage members, just a random member of the the Netanyahu brigade, to pipe up in the meeting. Actually, we stand with the government and we want to make sure that you see them to Hamas, but we don't care about our own family hostages. Just crazy stuff.
Unbelievable.
Like, is there any genuinely sickening human?
Like, it's bad enough when they do that on like Question Time and it's about housing policy. But when you're trying to undermine the seriousness of people whose family have actually been taken and are hostages, and you're trying to undermine that in order to keep Benjamin Netanyahu from his rightful jail cell, yeah, you are. Honestly, I don't know how you can possibly think you're on the right side. I don't know how you can possibly think you are morally correct in that course of action.
Yep.
But I suppose they don't actually care. I suppose they are literally just evil and don't care.
Pretty
relatives
much.
Who were taken in the October the 7th attack. Now, it's been a very busy morning. We're not sure how things will look by the end of our hour together today.
Well, shit.
So let's go straight to...
Regardless of how it goes, it'll be shit. Like, even if it goes off without a hitch, it still means you've got thousands of corpses still rotting underneath destroyed buildings. It's awful.
And we'll have spent the last hour with Laura Koonsberg.
Which is arguably worse in some respects.
Exactly. Yeah, if there's one thing that we can say for the 40,000 plus people killed in Gaza, is that none of them are going to have to deal with being talked about by Laura Koonsberg anymore.
Well, truly, the cold embrace of the Reaper does free one from such evil. Yes, that suffering does not need to be dealt with anymore. It is sweet release from the award-winning journalism.
Foster, who is on the ground for us in Israel. Anna, what can you tell us about what's happening this morning? We were expecting a ceasefire a couple of hours ago. That hasn't happened, but now the release of these names of hostages.
Hi, Laura. Yeah, it's been one of those mornings where things have just moved so very quickly, and the expectation was that right now I would be standing here telling you about a ceasefire that had already come into effect, telling you about how the choreography of the day was due to unfold. But that all became very shaky with about an hour to go when the office of Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, said that they had not received the names of those 3 hostages from Hamas, and that they therefore would not start this ceasefire. And I think it says a lot as well when you were watching those live pictures just a moment ago. So at 8:30 this morning local time, I was here and I was broadcasting. We had live pictures from Gaza, and you could hear in the background the sound of people celebrating. You could hear car horns and people cheering, because the communications, the word had not yet reached them that this ceasefire had been delayed. And then in the time after that, we saw again that view that you were talking about, so familiar to us now, looking across at Gaza, where at this point in time they shouldn't have been those big plumes of smoke anymore, but those airstrikes continued. So where
why should there ever have been that? These people are fucking evil. They just are. When you frame the fucking slaughter of innocent people in this way, you're fucking evil. When was there ever a justification for this? When was there ever a time when you should have seen plumes of smoke above a fucking inhabited city?
And you can literally see the building on the right there, just literally leaning to one side. It's been fucking collapsed.
Yeah. Fucking Leaning Tower of Gaza. Look at that shit. The people used to fucking live there. Fuck's sake.
Right now is that, as you said, those 3 names of Emily Damari, also Romy Gonen and Doron Steinbrecher, they have been released by Hamas on their Telegram channel.
Okay, what about all of the
We believe
what
that
about
Israel
the
have
thousands
received
and
those
thousands of Palestinians? We're going to have any of their names read out online? What about all the journalists that were killed? You're going to read their names out as well? Well, no, actually. They're irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think the next stage, Israel say they're looking over them. The next stage will be to see if they can come up with a revised time for the ceasefire agreement to really get things back on track today.
Anna, you've covered this story over the months. You've been to the region many times. Does it feel to you that people are confident that the ceasefire will come into force and it's a matter of time? Or does it still feel like it could all fall apart? Presumably the release of the hostage names is a positive step.
Do you know, actually, Laura, that is such a good question, because I think confidence is often very low that things will happen as they were supposed to. And I think this morning is just a prime example of that. The fact that this deal, which is coming into force now in January, is pretty much the same one that the outgoing US President Joe Biden put on the table in May of last year. It has taken so long to get this through. And I think whether you are a hostage family...
Do you want to mention why that has been difficult to get through? Do you want to mention literal members of the Israeli government this week bragging about having stopped it?
Yeah.
No, just leave it out there. It's a natural thing, like, oh, it's the flow of a river. No. People have been deliberately stopping this so they can continue slaughtering people.
No, it was Hamas, Kev.
Sorry, I'm being very anti-Semitic right now.
Yeah.
I was talking to a hostage family member just a little earlier, and he was saying, at this moment, you're doing things, you're packing bags, you're getting ready to welcome them home, but until you've actually got hold of them, you don't know for sure that it's going to happen. Similarly, families in Gaza this morning, packing their things, planning to return back to their homes, hoping that aid will start to come through. Again, the hope is there, but the expectation, I think people just don't have that same level of confidence that things will always work here the way that they're supposed to.
Anna, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course, Anna and our colleagues will be reporting through the day on BBC News. Piers, firstly to you, this feels like one of these moments where there's so much peril and so much opportunity.
Yeah, both, I think. I mean, it looked this morning like it may not happen. Suddenly things have moved very quickly. We've got the names of 3 hostages. God knows what their families must be feeling. And the ones, of course, of the hostages who've not been named, who are still there. So it's an appalling psychological drama unfurling for those families and those people. But the history is clear. This could be the beginning of the end of the worst war in this whole 75-year conflict. And if it does happen, to connect it to what's happening in Washington with Donald Trump, great credit to Trump, who appears to have achieved what Biden couldn't do in all these months, which is get this deal, which is pretty...
Not couldn't, Piers. Wouldn't.
Yeah, wouldn't put any pressure on him whatsoever.
Yeah, this isn't a case of the fact that Biden was trying and failing. He wasn't even fucking trying.
Yeah.
There was literally a member of the State Department, or an ex-member, because he quit, going to The Guardian and saying, we don't have a policy on Palestine. We just do what the Israelis tell us to do.
Yep. Unbelievable. Also, just as a kind of a spoiler for the future, I guess, Trump is only doing this so that he can look good and be like, oh look, I did the peace thing. Israel will obviously use any minor provocation or whatever to undermine this, and then they can go in and just occupy northern Gaza.
Well, yeah, like after all the hostages are free, in like 6 months or 6 weeks time or whatever, they'll just come back again.
Yeah. This is not going to lead to a long-term peace because Trump and Netanyahu have already been making noises. They want to annex Gaza. Simple.
Yep.
So, look forward to that peace.
Pretty similar to what it was back in May, is to get that deal over the line. And sometimes you've got to be pretty blunt with people like Netanyahu, as I think Trump has been through his Middle East envoy, to say we're getting this done. So I think, these things are moving quickly. I hope it's the beginning of the end, but it's perilous.
And Fiona, you work in security issues now. You were number 10 in the Home Office for a long time. What is it like in government at a moment like this where you can't be quite sure what's going on?
Well, it's discombobulating, because anything can happen. And already this morning we can see nothing can be relied on by way of information. And one of the things that we do know is that the communications between certain parts of Hamas and the mediators, Qatar, are often delayed. So even...
There's one real problem here, right? And that is that because of the amount of Botox this person has had, she can't get the right facial expression that you're supposed to be somber. Whereas she looked like a fucking waxwork smiling fucking Two Swords figure. And that's, what I mean? It's just bad vibes.
I didn't realise.
Yeah, go on,
until very recently, I didn't realise that Botox is quite literally the neurotoxin that gets released from botulism. I learned that the other day. But when you get Botox, you're injecting yourself with neurotoxin. That's fucked up.
It is fucked up, and you shouldn't really do that. I think you look worse. No. It's like wearing a wig, but over your entire face. I can tell that you've had it, and you don't look better for it. I'm just looking at it thinking, can I pull that off? Can I pull that off? If I blow on it, will it fly off? I don't know.
You've got a system that actually prevents you from doing that. And also to say, Laura, bearing in mind, this is only stage 1 of 3 stages. I mean, this will be a tenterhooks situation for goodness knows how many months.
And how can you create trust as well in that situation? Because Hamas, of course, we should remind people, is considered to be a terror group by many, many governments, not just the UK government. How can you have trust in this sort of situation?
Well, that's what mediators, I guess, do. But that has been made more difficult, of course, by the new head of Hamas, who is less diplomatic than his predecessor. But it's tough. Any mediation's tough, and we're talking about, as Keir said, 75 years.
Someone said this in chat, and I had to look it up. It not only is it botulism toxin, but that's what Botox literally means. It's just a shortening. It's a contraction of botulinum. Yeah, botulinum toxin. So wow. It's literally the name.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Fucking mental. Why are you putting that into your face? Why are you doing that?
Fuck that. Just age gracefully, I beg you.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a long time. And we now have a new wave of young people who've suffered, who will now see the West in general as an enemy. That's just a byproduct of a war like this. And that's an extra complication that we'll all have to think about.
The most worrying thing, I think, is that revelation from the American administration last week that they believe every Hamas terrorist who's been killed has already been replaced. In other words, you've killed the physical body of most of Hamas.
You fucking... I'm going to have a fucking aneurysm. I swear to God. What were we literally telling you, Piers? What did you literally write in your fucking newspaper when you opposed the Iraq war? If you kill them, you'll just create more of them.
Yep.
It's of course. If you bomb someone's fucking house and kill all of their family, are they more or less likely to join the one group fighting back against you? Of course.
Like, to quote the Internet Hippo account on Twitter, I don't know about anybody else, but if Israel murdered my whole family because they thought I was Hamas, the first thing I would do would be to start Hamas too.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo, right?
Literally. It's so annoying. It's so aggravating. Because it's so obviously true. You can't kill a group like that. Firstly, you shouldn't put money into trying to make them in the first place. Hint for the future there, Israel. And secondly, you do it by allowing them the fucking freedom to actually grow civil governance. Peaceful civil governance. People don't naturally go towards terrorism. You have to push them there.
Hamas they've been replaced ideologically by people that share their ideology.
Imran, you spend most of your time in Washington now, but you spent a long time in Westminster. How much interest do you think there really is in Washington in resolving this, or actually is Trump's
Absolute fuck all. Literally fuck all.
Whoa. Trump's being inaugurated now, so there is plenty of interest in resolving this situation by allowing Israel to annex all of it. They will solve it by
that is technically
Israel do what they want.
Ironically, that would be a very much a sort of what's the word I would look for there? A kind of permanent solution, a kind of the last solution to the problem. What would be the phrase for that? I can't think of it, but it'd be something like that, wouldn't it?
Final answer.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that. Yeah.
I'm just very happy to say, hey, look, we got an early victory because we got involved, and now sort it out yourselves.
Well, I think he wanted it off his books, didn't he? And, I mean, yes, Joe Biden had the sales pitch, but who's created the urgency, the desire for this to be sorted out so quickly? That's Donald Trump, absolutely certainly. So there's actually, I mean, this really is one of those incredibly unusual circumstances where two administrations, one outgoing, one incoming, have worked in a really, really sort of collaborative way to drive forward change that we all wanted.
So that's a headline in itself, Biden and Trump.
If not, what happened is that Joe Biden said, "I don't give a shit. Here's a deal. We don't have to accept it. We won't accept it. Oh, okay, then another $18 billion to Israel." And Trump came in and said, "Fucking sign the deal, you twat." And then he did.
Yeah.
Like they've not been collaborating at all.
No. Joe Biden went red line, and then they stepped over the red line, and he went, "I didn't see any red line. What? I didn't. There's no red line. It's fine. Another 20 gazillion for Israel."
Well, that's number one.
True.
Even through their proxies, have actually worked together to make this happen.
Well, they clearly have, and I think the funny thing about Trump is, I think he's misread all the time this idea that he absolutely despises Biden and thinks he's.
This man has several haircuts. Like there are several different haircuts on his scalp. Like it's not a unified look he has going on. There's a kind of fade thing at the sides. There's then a kind of short back and sides with some extra length on top. There's then a kind of front bit of a mullet as well. Like
a weird quiff as well.
There's too much going on here. It's too busy. Okay, you don't need to distract from anything. Just be chill. A terrible person. Actually, what they've been doing in the background is working together in this really collaborative way, and that's what makes Trump so frustrating. Because of course he's talking a bunch of nonsense about Joe Biden.
They're supposed to be the fucking expert on the panel. Like they're supposed to be getting the greatest minds to comment on this, and the fucking I think Biden and Trump have been getting on. No, this is what the fuck are you talking about?
He's been going on about how he's going to imprison all of Joe Biden's fucking cabinet members. We talking about? No.
Yeah, treating them like they're fucking seditious.
Yeah. Amazing. Also, did you see he put out that list of people who, and they're all Republicans, who if you'd worked for them, you shouldn't apply to his government for a job because you won't get one. Like he's literally he's literally blacklisting Republicans if you've ever worked for them. Amazing shit.
And this is one thing why
this is the anti-cancel culture party, everyone.
The thing is that that kind of tangentially relates to a point I was going to make, which is that I've seen a lot of people talk about how terrible that the Democrats have handled the TikTok ban, and it's true that they have. But everyone's saying, "Oh, well, this means that all the young people are going to move over to the Republican Party because Trump unbanned it." And actually, no, this is a Trump thing. It's not Republican versus Democrat. Trump is the can't run again. So it doesn't really make any fucking difference for the next election or whatever. But it doesn't mean the Democrats aren't stupid. But most people who are on TikTok, from what I've seen, are blaming both the Republicans and the Democrats because, of course, it's fucking gigantic bipartisan shit that started.
Yeah, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And also, just like, it's such a fraudulent load of old shit anyway. Like, oh, they're selling, or they're giving your information to the Chinese government, blah, 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 and that's a national security issue. But if it's handled by an American company who give that information to the American government, that's fine. What?
Yeah. So Twitter was just like, we cannot trust your data with the Chinese Communist Party. Instead, we're going to make sure we trust it with the most trustworthy group of people in the world, the American billionaire class.
Yeah, you know who I definitely trust with my information? The NSA. They've never done anything nefarious with private information at all.
Mark Zuckerberg, Cambridge Analytica, hello.
Amazing. Now, it's okay when we spy on our own citizens. What are you talking about? That's not spying. That's freedom. Okay. That's what we like to call a liberty overlooking. Yeah.
The government has the freedom to spy on you.
Exactly. What more freedom could you possibly want than the freedom for Uncle Sam to finger you in your sleep?
Kamala Harris and everyone else, but secretly he's been working with them in this incredibly collaborative way.
Okay, well, we'll talk a lot
Well,
more.
there is actually a point beyond. I mean, he's obviously making that shit up, but it was so annoying to see the Jimmy Carter funeral. Not because Jimmy Carter died, because lol, fuck him, but because Barack Obama, having spent the last few months going, Donald Trump is a nascent fascist threat to the United States, and you can't trust him with the presidency. Then sat there joking with him like he was in the fucking pub over a pint and a fucking packet of crisps, the wanker.
Yeah, they were reminiscing about the collective drone strikes.
Yeah. It was like, Donald, I bet you can't beat my record again. Kunduz Hospital. Fuck's sake. It's lovely when war criminals get on, isn't it? I mean, I'd like them to get on from the inside of a fucking Hague jail cell, but, you know.
True, like they could film it, make it The Odd Couple.
Oh, you know what? I'd watch the shit out of that.
Absolutely. That's why I said that if they took both like Netanyahu and like Yahya Sinwar to The Hague together, put them in a cell, put them in the same jail cell, it'd be funny.
Yeah. There's only one way to sort this out. Fight!
Please. I mean, I guess that's kind of what we had for the last 15 months.
Well, no, because it isn't a fight. Because when you've got planes against people with no planes, that isn't a fight. Two fat old men in a jail cell in Holland beating the shit out of each other. That I will fucking watch. Let's go.
About the psychology of Donald Trump later in the programme. All three of you will be back with you shortly. And later in the show, we'll be talking to Sharon Lifshitz, whose father is still in captivity. Her mother was also taken hostage, but she has been released. But we'll be hearing from her later in the programme. Darren Jones, Cabinet Minister, is with us on this very busy morning.
She does like to blend into the chairs, doesn't she?
Is the UK government confident that the ceasefire is actually going to take place?
We're definitely hopeful. Clearly, along with our allies and partners, we will be encouraging both sides of the agreement to honour the letter in the spirit of...
But if Israel wants to break it, we do believe that Israel has that right.
It is an ongoing situation.
She has the right to defend herself.
That ceasefire agreement, because we have a moment of opportunity here to bring the fighting to an end, get the hostages released, and then crucially getting that aid through into Gaza, which is needed so desperately. And then
Has there been something holding up aid? Because that would be a really very, very, very terrible thing, a breaking of international law, if there were some sort of purposeful governmental body blocking aid from getting to people who are on the verge of starvation. That would be a terrible crime against humanity.
Quite so, especially if the guarantee that the max amount of aid we're getting into Gaza was to be one of the conditions upon the preliminary measures handed down by the International Court of Justice over the South African genocide case. Maybe that'd be fucked up if that was the case.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. The South African case gets easier and easier to argue, I think. Really, doesn't it? Like, if I was the prosecution in that case, I'd feel pretty confident.
And you'd think a party led by a human rights lawyer would know that.
Look. No one would claim that he is a fucking corrupt serial liar. Okay, no one would say that. He's a good boy, honest.
Ideally, get the parties around the table to focus on a permanent solution.
Well, just as we're speaking, we can actually report now there are suggestions the ceasefire will actually come into place at 9:15 our time. So actually, forgive me, if I look at my watch.
It did. No, obviously, to be fair, it's a live show, so like, you know, ongoing. But it did come into effect, and yeah, we'll wait and see, I guess.
That's just in 3 minutes' time. The ceasefire itself might come into force. Of course, we'll update everybody on that. But
they did release the 3 sausages, yes. Yeah. And then Israel released 90 sausages in return. I'm doing a Keir Starmer joke.
They had 90 sausages. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, they must have gone to some sort of wholesaler.
Exactly. I've not heard anything.
Yeah, it's very strange they have such a massive stock of sausages. That's very peculiar.
No one's mentioned these
about
sausages
British
before.
Yeah.
families whose loved ones were captured. We know there's various different families of dual nationalities. We think also there is perhaps at least one British hostage. What kind of support and reassurance can you give them this morning?
Well, look, I'm sure it will be an increase in hope for the family of Emily de Murray, for example, to be named this morning. The Prime Minister has met with Emily's family and has raised the case with the Qatari government when he was there recently. But look, it's unimaginable for all of us, right? I can only guess that for those families, they'll only be able to breathe when their daughters are back in their arms, safe at home. And we hope for that to happen as soon as possible, and we'll do everything we can to make that the case.
Let's then talk about Donald Trump. There are plenty of suggestions in the press this morning, and in fact, one of his allies has also told us there's some scar tissue between the US and the UK, and that actually Keir Starmer needs to make sure he can kiss and make up. Are you worried about that?
I'm sure he'll kiss, yeah.
The ring piece.
Indeed.
I'm talking about Trump's anus.
Yeah, you are. That is yes.
He will lick the bum hole.
Too much. You went too far. That is TOS.
No, he will throat the sphincter.
That is tossing the salad. Sorry. Fucking hell. Now would be a good time to say you can give me money in the form of bits and subs and stuff.
If you want more high quality programming from the No Justice and Kevin O'Gill streams.
Oh, I am a terrible influence. You do proper, actual, like, good content, and then I come on and you start talking about rimming. Fucking hell. Anyway, yes, you can subscribe to the channel, subscribe with Amazon Prime, gift subs to the community, you can do bits messages and all of that jazz. You can become a member for 99p on YouTube. Give memberships to the community.
It's cheaper than a Red Stripe.
It is indeed. And you can do super chats, which will be read out.
Eventually.
Residual resentment.
No, obviously the UK and the US has a long and deep-rooted relationship. And, you know, I've said already this morning on another show, I think if you step back a bit from the detail and the rumours and the gossip, I just think Britain needs to be confident about itself and be strong in its position. We've got lots of great assets, lots of great capabilities. What we say in the world matters.
We did, but they got sold.
I'm sorry, what we say in the world matters. No one gives a shit what we say. We're a tiny island that's in perpetual decline, that's cut ourselves off from every single one of our partnerships that we were at least equal in, only now to become a vassal state of the United States, so much so we don't even set our own fucking foreign policy. And you'll know, Darren, because your current government has their own foreign policy set by the American State Department, so much so that Keir Starmer couldn't have an opinion on the Israeli ceasefire until he'd gone to speak to fucking Anthony Blinken in Munich, and then suddenly, oh, okay, now we can support a ceasefire. It's pathetic.
Yeah. Our economy, our security, our defence, our values are strongly intertwined with the Americans, irrespective of who their president is. And I think there'll be plenty of opportunities there for us to do deals with President Trump-elect, both in the interests of the British economy, but also for democracies and the West.
But this isn't rumour or gossip. This is something your colleague Sadiq Khan, the London mayor, has said. He's told the Observer newspaper he's worried about fascism and the march of the right. Now, that is aimed pretty directly at Donald Trump. Is he wrong?
Yes, and I don't agree with that. President-elect Trump...
Yeah, no, we shouldn't be afraid of it because we've already jumped into bed with Giorgia Meloni. So, yeah, no, I do disagree. We should absolutely not be scared of it. We should love it. Is official government policy.
Well, it's just pathetic again. It's absolutely pathetic. What he said, I don't believe in that at all. I mean, people, your own foreign secretary called Trump a fascist like 8 years ago. But then he got bought some dinner, and now he's changed his mind because David Lammy has literally 0 principles. Actually, that's a lie. He has 1 principle, which is the whatever's best of his career goes. That's his singular principle.
Yes, no, he literally is just, he is a David Lammyist.
Yep.
Trump won an enormous election victory in the United States. As a democracy, we support democracy, and the American people elect...
Do we? Where's that then? Where's that? Would that be in the Middle East? Because we don't seem to be supporting many democracies there. Or
what about
Africa?
in your own party?
Yeah, in your own party? No.
And also, like, you didn't win an enormous victory. It was like a percentage point.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm not even going to bother. It's so irrelevant at this point. But yes, you are technically correct, yeah.
Elected Donald Trump and the Republican Party.
So
we
why is the
respect that
senior
mandate.
Labour figure out there making that case?
Oh, he's allowed to, but I don't agree with it. I speak on behalf of the government, and we don't agree with it. President-elect Trump has an important mandate in the United States, and we look forward to working with him in the interest of both of our economies.
And are you confident that the Trump administration will accept Keir Starmer's pick of ambassador, Peter Mandelson, to work with him?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the first time...
You are, just to get that on the record, you're confident that Peter Mandelson is going to be accepted as ambassador?
Yeah, because look, for the first time in, I think, maybe 50 years, this is the first time that a British Prime Minister has picked a politician to be the ambassador in DC. We have brilliant diplomats, and Karen Pierce has done a brilliant job. But the reason the Prime Minister picked Peter Mandelson was because we want to do things differently. We recognise...
Because it takes a nonce to know a nonce. I will not withdraw either remark.
Well, I would like to distance myself from those comments, as we do not have any information that confirms nor quashes that. But we do have a couple of photos of Peter Mandelson with Jeffrey Epstein. That is not proof of anything, apart from the fact that it was with Jeffrey Epstein. But you can make of that what you will.
At his birthday party?
Literally blowing out some candles.
Like...
Oh, a lovely moment.
Maybe if you just happen to be at the same gala dinner and he walks past you, that's one thing. When you are invited to his birthday party, I think you might be quite close to him. I think at the very, very, very least I will be willing to accept is that he knew exactly what was going on and did not care and hid it. Actively colluded in the covering up of pederasty. That's the least I will accept. And like I say, I stand by my comments that he is probably a nonce. Anyway,
relationship between our two countries. There are lots of opportunities there on trade and the way in which our countries collaborate, whether it's on technology or on finance or on defence and security issues. And I think Peter Mandelson will be a brilliant ambassador for us and will form a very strong partnership with the new administration.
But what do you mean do things differently? Because it's diplomats have always had their job to try to drum up business links, to try to create the relationships, and you're sending a political...
Yeah, that's such a good point. Yeah, the King of England supports democracy. Yeah. True. Very true.
Most democratic institution of all, the British monarchy.
True. What's more democratic than the particular sperm that comes out of an old man's balls? And then the egg it goes into and creates a new king in 80 years' time.
When actually your two political parties are incredibly far apart. You know, in lots of ways, Labour and Trump's Republicans have gone in completely the opposite directions.
Well, look, in elections, of course, we all have our political teams, but once we're in office, we have a lot of shared ambitions for our countries and for our work in the world. And I say it's different because it is just factually different to send a senior, very respected politician into that post, not to discredit our diplomats who I say do a brilliant job around the world, But we are taking that different approach. And as
well, I'm really glad you, by the way, a completely different politician, but I'm glad you sent Jonathan Ashworth into America because he's such a winner.
And his strategy helped them lose the election.
Well, you say that, yes, because it's true. Yeah.
Peter Mandelson, I think, will be a brilliant ambassador for us.
We know there are concerns in government about Donald Trump's for tariffs, which he says one of the most beautiful words in the world. And a tariff, of course, is putting a tax on other countries trying to do business with you. Our economy is not exactly in great shape. What's your worst case scenario for Trump putting tariffs?
Well, look, as you would expect, the government has prepared for all scenarios. They are hypothetical at this stage.
You haven't prepared for any scenarios. What the fuck are you talking about? You didn't prepare for being the government.
It's true, basically.
Like, other than maybe calling up the removal men to bring in your fucking sofa into number 10, what did you actually do to prepare for that? And you had years. Trump's going to absolutely butt-fuck us. This is ridiculous. We're literally defenceless. We're sending in fucking Keir Starmer to piss himself in the boxing ring. Brilliant.
What the Trump administration do. But to go back to my original point on this issue, look, I think there's a whole range of opportunities for us. Donald Trump is well known for wanting to do a good deal. I think there are plenty of good deals for us to do
together. There's a whole range of risks, though, too, right?
Yeah, Tony Soprano was known for wanting to do a good deal, you cunt, and you ended up in a fucking skip, dead. What do you mean? Stop lying to people. Stop lying. Look, we already had 4 years of Trump. We know exactly who he is and what he is. He's a wanker. Stop fucking lying to us like we don't know what it is. Fucking hell. It's so dishonest.
Well, I mean, we of course, no one thinks that Keir Starmer is a proven morally corrupt serial liar.
That's true. He's never once lied about what cereal he likes. Cornflakes. Obviously.
The most boring and bland cereal possible.
If he could, he would just eat dry cardboard.
Are one of them, and we've been reporting that there's a mini cabinet committee that's been meeting in secret.
Mini cabinet again. Quangoed his own cabinet. Fucking brilliant. Can't even trust cabinet to make a decision. You need a cabinet for the cabinet. But then who cabinets the cabinet's cabinet? Like a fucking Russian nesting doll. A Russian nesting doll of fucking avoiding responsibility for taking a decision on anything.
Scenarios. What is your worst case scenario? Our economy, for which you're partly responsible, is not in great shape. And Donald Trump is talking about a huge course change, if you like, in terms of how global markets work. So what's your worst case scenario?
So just firstly, on this idea of a secret cabinet, I mean, it's not secret. I mean, the cabinet talks about things affecting the country. I've been to those meetings. They're called small.
Yeah, oh, Jesus Christ. It's not the secret. Obviously, it's not secret. Otherwise, we wouldn't know about it. It's why do you need a secret subsection of what is already the government subsection?
Yeah, just have the cabinet discuss it. Why does it need to be an Why do you need to fucking put it through another layer?
And the lie he's about to tell is basically that you have what's interdepartmental meetings, right? So on an issue where you have the fucking Home Office and DEFRA need to be involved because it's some sort of Home Office and farming issue, then the ministers will meet up and do a fucking meeting. But that's not a subcommittee. That's just because of overlapping magisteria, is the phrase. Basically, they've got responsibilities in the area. It affects both of their briefs, and so they need to get together and discuss that and come up with a solution to the problem. Whereas this is literally, I mean, first off, how much of a cunt does Donald Trump have to be that you even need a subcommittee for him? Can we not just get him a babysitter? Like,
honestly, it's literally like trying to plan for the fucking the nasty child at school where you have to have an action plan in place beforehand.
Yeah. Can we sit him on the naughty step? I feel like we need to sit him on the naughty step.
more
agree.
ministerial groups. It's where members of the cabinet come together to talk about different
you haven't
types
told
of
us about them before,
issues.
so, you know.
Well, we don't give. There are so many small ministerial groups. The press notice would be enormous, to tell you the truth. But look, there are.
Sure, we'd love to know about them all, Darren Jones.
Well, I can't even go to all of them because there are so many every week that involve spending. But anyway, there's a group of us that have come together, and I've stood in for the Chancellor when she's not been available. But look, the point of that is that there are opportunities for us to seize. Donald Trump has talked about his trade deficit with certain countries around the world. That's a different relationship than the US has with the UK. We are important trade, defence and security partners with lots of shared ambitions, both for our economies, but also for our action in the world. And I just think we should be front-footed and confident about that, because Britain has a lot to offer, and I think we can make a good set of outcomes by working in partnership with the new administration. That should be an exciting thing.
Do you think you're going to get some form of trade deal, perhaps a more narrow one, looking just at services rather than...
We didn't get one the first time round, so why would there be one second time? No, is the answer.
Because West Streeting is desperate to sell off bits of the NHS.
Oh, yeah, well, if that's what you mean by trade deal, as in we literally just trade ourselves to them, yeah, I guess we'll probably get that kind of deal.
Than all of the things that bring concerns like food imports.
Yeah, so the President and our Prime Minister have already been talking about these types of opportunities, and the transition team have already been meeting with our senior representatives here from the British government. There are definitely opportunities to deepen our trading relationships, not least in areas, for example, in technology and science and research. And we're keen to pursue those opportunities with the new administration. And I think that's something that could be a positive outcome.
What about...
Has he said anything that so far that wasn't a lie? Has he said anything so far where it's so obvious he doesn't believe the thing he's saying? Because so far it's just been a total waste of time.
He sometimes goes to subcommittee. That's basically
okay,
it.
yeah, no, technically he does sometimes go to subcommittee. Okay, fine. Other than that, then, anything that actually matters. No, just utter bollocks. Oh, no, we're really looking forward to Donald Trump being the president. That's why we have a subcommittee for him. Because that's a normal thing. Just like we had a subcommittee for Biden. Oh, no, we didn't. And for Obama. Oh, no, we didn't.
TikTok, which is a social media platform which is partly, it's owned by a Chinese company. There are always been suspicions about the Chinese government being able to scrape consumers' data from there. It's now been banned in the US. We'll see exactly what Donald Trump does about it. But would the UK government look at that?
Look, we always keep all of these technology issues under consideration, whether it's for national security or data privacy concerns. We have laws in place and processes to do that. We have no plans right now to ban TikTok from the UK, so we won't be following the same path that the Americans have followed, unless or until at some point in the future there is a threat that we are concerned about in the British interest, and then we'll, of course, keep it under review.
But given how close our...
Honestly, some of the cooking videos I've seen on TikTok are a threat to my sanity. So I feel like that you should take that into account.
Well, every time there's a video with a big block of cheese in the middle of a baking dish.
I saw someone, oh God, they had steak, chips and beans that had been frozen and that they just cooked together in one big pot. And honestly, I had to issue a fatwa against them. It was the only answer.
As well you should.
It is haram. 100%.
Intelligence and security relationships are with America. If it's the American view that it's too dangerous to have that platform in the country, why shouldn't the UK take that view too?
Well, look, there's a different approach, I suppose. On government devices, for example, we've not been allowed to use TikTok for many years. The last Conservative government took the same position because there's sensitive information on those devices. But for consumers who want to post videos of their cats or dancing, I mean, that doesn't seem...
Well, hang on, that's an interesting one then. Does Ed Davey, when he's doing his stupid TikTok videos, does he use an official device?
I hope not.
Because he's King's Counsel, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's okay for Americans. King's Counsel is basically a selection of high-ranking politicians who have access or are privy to certain pieces of very, very sensitive national security information, even though they're not part of the government, so that they know that the government aren't like lying when they say, oh, we can't tell the public this because of national security. So like the leader of the opposition and things like that. So yeah. So basically, Ed Davey might be exposing national security information to the Chinese by offering to one-on-one FIFA against fucking Keir Starmer. Which, like, I mean, again, the Chinese must be laughing at us. Like, why do we even invest in having spies? We don't need them.
Seem like a national security threat to me.
Okay, Darren Jones, thank you so much for joining us in the studio. It's always great to have you with us, and it's a huge morning of news, so thank you very much indeed for talking about all sorts of issues. Now, we do just have an update
That's
for
it.
you.
Literally worthless. He might as well have not appeared. Total waste of fucking time. Oh, my award-winning journalism.
Absolutely useless.
Brilliant.
It has now been confirmed by the Israeli Prime Minister's office that a ceasefire has come into effect in Gaza after more than 400 days.
That means you can fuck off then, Benj. Because, I mean, the war's over, right? So you don't need to be there
Didn't
more.
Ben quit the cabinet?
No, Benj, as in Benjamin Netanyahu.
I mean, this is ancillary to this point, yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, if he has to quit the cabinet, then sure, that's the end of Netanyahu's political career.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. Anyway, Benjamin Netanyahu, please go into the prison. That's the nicest thing I can say. Go to prison. Forever.
Of war at 9:15 British time, the ceasefire is now in force.
I love it when she does her, like, serious voice, like she's trying to sound like Walter Cronkite or some shit. Like, at 9:15 p.m, President Kennedy was shot dead. Like, she's trying to do that voice, like the gravitas voice. And, like, no, you sound like Laura Koonsberg. It doesn't matter what pitch you use, you're still Laura Koonsberg, an idiot.
Hamas, the group that's prescribed by many governments around the world, has revealed the names of the 3 hostages they are releasing today. That does include Emily.
Yeah, the 3 humans who are being released, and then apparently there are 90, I don't know what they are, zebras or something that are being released the other way, I don't know. But they don't have names, so it doesn't really matter.
Damari, a British Israeli woman who was taken in those terrible October the 7th attacks back in 2023. That will be seen by many people, we've heard this morning, as one of the first achievements of President Trump, as tomorrow he prepares to take the oath of office and make it official and move back into the Oval Office. He arrived in Washington last night ahead of his second inauguration. The incoming administration has planned a weekend of celebrations.
Honestly, his nussy is, I mean, fucking mental. Like, he could clap it. He could.
Yeah.
He could twerk his nussy.
Let's talk to one of Donald Trump's supporters, Greg Swenson. He's the chair of Republicans Overseas. He told me about the very much celebratory mood in Washington.
Yeah, a lot of energy and just a real sense of optimism. And it's really a fresh moment in Washington.
Okay, this person has killed and will kill again. Look at him. Look at him. Oh, God. I don't want to know what's in his freezer.
No, definitely
not. Not all of your fellow Americans feel that optimism, though. For some people, he's a divisive character. He's a danger to democracy in some people's view. Even some people who worked for him first time round have said he's like a fascist. Is he going to try to reach out, do you think, in the next couple of days, or does he not care about offending others?
No, I think he's very positive. He's definitely stated many times he's, the president for all Americans, and I realize that most presidents say that, but I think you'll see.
I know all presidents say it, and then none of them do it. But like Trump doesn't even pretend, really.
No,
Trump's just like, no, I'm just going to do it for MAGA. But I'm going to do it for me, and then a bit for MAGA, and then no one else.
He's totally brazen about it as well.
Yeah.
When he just talks about like the stuff that he'll do, it'll be entirely along friendship-based lines, right?
Oh God,
on lines of loyalty. Look at his fucking appointments for his cabinet positions.
Literally, I mean, his fucking daughter. His daughter, who's got never had any experience, whatever, all of a sudden was just in a meeting with him and fucking Angela Merkel. What? Angela Merkel must have been
Elon fucking Musk.
Angela Merkel must have been fucking, like, just furious. Like, I had to work, I was in a fucking Stasi jail cell, and then I had to work my way through the fucking labyrinthine world of German politics to become Chancellor, and now I'm just sat next to this fucking thing. Who are you? A random blonde bitch. Why are you in this fucking room with us? Why are you here? But you can't say that. You gotta be nice. Otherwise, he'll fucking nuke you.
Oh, Ivanka Trump is a political heavyweight, I'll have you know.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I'll get annoyed. Thank you, Some Random Geek, for resubscribing. 48 months. That is 4 years.
Get some help.
Yeah, that is fucked up. You are broken.
Again, there's a renewed optimism in the country. Even if people don't like President Trump, they missed the peace and prosperity of 2019 and 20. So I think the
peace and prosperity of COVID. Yeah, okay, babe. Yeah, whatever.
There's, a lot of people have come around. If there are some people that think he's, a threat to democracy or a fascist, that's, I think, just one small wing of the progressive left. So I think everyone's going to calm down.
No, we all saw...
It was his own fucking chief of staff.
We literally all saw January the 6th, mate. That happened. Like, that's not just the left that saw that. Everyone saw it.
A little bit. And again, there's so much optimism about Monday and the new administration.
But not everyone's optimistic about having the first convicted felon in the White House. And not everybody in the Republican Party thought it was appropriate to send him back to the Oval Office.
You'll notice, Laura, none of these indictments came until after President Trump announced he was running again in very late 2022. They sat on all of this, supposed, criminal activity for 2 years at least, but even longer. And so, a lot of these cases were 10.
No, the E.G. and Carroll stuff was a lot longer ago than that.
Years old. So it was really obvious that they were using the justice system against President Trump because he was
he committed crimes,
not because of anything he did.
Where does the UK fit into all of this? Peter Mandelson is...
It doesn't. We don't care about you. We don't think about you. Literally, we're an irrelevance. This is not 1871, okay? We don't exist anymore. Stop pretending we do.
Being sent to be our man on the ground in DC. Is he the right pick?
I didn't think it was the right pick, but he is the pick. So I think the administration will work with him. There is a political difference, obviously, with Labour and government in the UK and the Republicans coming back in the US. So there's a moment, I think, where there has to be some reaching out and, kiss and make up, so to speak. You've had some political baggage or a little bit of scar tissue from Mendelson, as well as, Lammy and Keir Starmer. So, a lot of people have said things in the past. It's okay to disagree with political opponents. I think calling them white nationalists and fascists is a bit much.
Really? Because Donald Trump literally called both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris fascist.
You said white nationalists were very fine people.
Yeah, he did.
So there is some making up to do. I think President Trump will be thrilled to do it. He loves the UK. He had he really enjoyed the relationship in his first term and in his 2 visits to the UK. And of course, you saw the meeting a few weeks ago with Prince William.
Some viewers, I think, though, will look at what's happening.
Not even going to mention his Scottish mom. They usually do. You've got to go with that. His mom was Scottish. Therefore, he loves Britain or some shit. Look, some of his best golf courses are Scottish.
America and think, you know what, Donald Trump is going to run the country himself and with a small group of rich, wealthy men. And they don't like the look of that. What do you say to that?
Well, yeah, I would say don't worry.
I would say go fuck yourself. I don't care. Peace out. Is the truth.
Yeah, got mine.
Yeah.
About it, first of all, I think having a small group of rich, wealthy men is not uncommon in
So he's not even saying no, that's not true. He's saying no, it is true. You just shouldn't worry about it.
Yes, that's absolutely fine. I'm sure a time when entirety of the laws of a country were entirely decided by a cadre of self-serving billionaires. I'm sure that's never got any kind of historical precedence at being a bad thing.
No, this can only end well for humanity.
It's been working for Russia very well for the last 30 years.
Yeah, no, it's going super well.
But I
But
thought
so
it was
it's
pretty
true, right? That's the way.
No, I mean, I don't think he'll be dependent on
I
that
can't
small
wait
group.
for President Musk's 3-day denazification of Greenland to happen. That should be fun. It's just a military operation.
Makes his own decisions, and you saw that even where he and Elon Musk, for example, have disagreed on some appointments, for example, and I think, you know, ultimately President Trump makes the final decision.
Is he actually hunched back? Is Elon Musk literally Quasimodo? What the fuck?
Well, he must be from all of that time, you know, crouched over his PC playing Path of Exile 4.
Definitely. No, he's the number one of them. Even though he literally like kept clicking on that same fucking map 10 times. Like it. I mean, sure, even if you don't know the game, if you keep clicking on it and nothing happens, why do you keep clicking on it? You're just a weird boomer. That's like the fucking boomer ass motherfucker who just keeps pressing the same button on the control. Why are you expecting a different result? It's the same button. Choose a different button. Fuck me. Oh God, I hate old people so much.
And Greg, you're pretty well connected with the Trump circle. Do you hope there's going to be a job for you, perhaps?
I'm not sure about that, but I'm happy to serve, and it's great being here in Washington. Love being in the UK too.
No, I don't need to. I don't need to have a job. I've got all my money invested in Trump coin, so I'm fine.
I mean, unironically, probably going to be the case for quite a lot of people for the next how many months.
For a little bit, yeah, for a little bit, but again, like all Ponzi schemes, someone's going to be left holding the bag at the end.
True.
Too, and running Republicans overseas has been a great experience. So great partnership between the two countries. I think the special relationship will endure no matter who's in office. That's great to see. And a great crowd here from the UK, from London especially, here in Washington.
Greg Swenson, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Laura. Great to be here.
Fuck off.
Well, the last person who pitched for a job on this programme was Peter Mandelson, and we saw what happened then. Piers, you're one of the people in this country who actually knows Donald Trump well. You've known him for a long time. And I know you talked to him.
Yeah, if you look closely, you can still see the orange tint on his lips.
Exactly.
How should the UK deal with him?
You know, it reminds me of when Tony Blair swept to power.
He likes a reach around, so you should probably do that. Oh, sorry, no, you meant diplomatically. Oh, okay.
In 97, and one of the key components in that was the fact the Sun switched allegiance as a newspaper. Rupert Murdoch ordered the backing of Tony Blair, and I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Blair about Murdoch, and he was asked about the relationship and how best to pursue this, and he said, well, it's a bit like making love to a porcupine. You know, it can all work out fine, but you just have to tread very carefully. And I would say,
no, it would just be, it's like making love to a porcupine. It's just a room full of pricks.
Yeah.
Boom.
Labour, given how abusive a lot of them have been about Trump before, including David Lammy, who's performed one of the great Damascene conversions of all time, where he's gone from thinking Trump's the new Hitler to somebody he wants to have cosy dinners with, which is what he has to do.
Extra helpings, he told us.
Yeah, which is what he has to do. Look, I think with Trump, you just have to be straight with him, but you have to understand he's America first, America first, America first. Also, if you...
He's literally already said he's going to be Israel first. He's literally said that. He said that to AIPAC.
Apparently, Trump coin has crashed nearly 40% in the last hour, which is quite funny.
Of course it has. Of course it fucking has. Donald Trump sold. He's all good. He don't give a fuck.
If you have a great idea for what could benefit the UK, try and make Trump think it's his idea, would be my advice, because he loves to take credit for these things, which, by the way, is not necessarily a bad thing if it's a good thing for the UK.
But Fiona, you were...
Okay, so he's a fucking simpleton who likes to take credit for other people's ideas. I know. I was about to say, I know where he gets on with Elon Musk quite well. Then, yeah.
In government with Theresa May when he was first elected, and the atmosphere then was very, very different. And I remember this sort of whole British establishment seemed to be in shock at this man. British prime ministers have to deal with Donald Trump. Successive ones have done. What was it like dealing with him?
Do you know, honestly, Laura, it was perfectly fine. We accepted that he was president, and that's what you have to do. We're all grown-ups in the room here. We're all there to lead countries, and that's what we are paid to do.
Oi, hang on. You were an advisor to Theresa May, and you're saying that there were adults in the room. She fucking held his hand like a bewildered child.
Yeah. Honestly, it looked like the idiots leading the idiots. It was
peak adults in the room.
Very much so.
He was very receptive. He's very direct, which as a Scot, Laura, we like a bit of direct. And he's intelligent. You know, people write him off as being a buffoon, but he's not. I remember vividly the first security briefing we had with him, which was actually the day after the last inauguration, and he was really up to speed on all the really complex issues that we jointly, UK, US, were facing. And look, you know, he's won again. You have to be impressed by that.
And did you get the sense that there was genuine meaning in the links that he talks about with the UK? You know, we know that he loves meeting the royal family. He loves, of course, his golf courses. But do you think that there was a special connection?
I think for him it's actually really rather palpable. I think he sees the UK.
Oh my God, Melania Trump now doing a fucking thing as well. Oh my God, she's releasing her own Melania Trump coin. So they're going to do a double fucking whammy on it.
They've realised just how good it is, how lucrative it is. They might as well get on as much of it as they can. Although it's going to be funny when Melania Trump gets infinitely less money injected into hers because of, you know, the whole misogyny thing.
Well, the misogyny thing, and like no one's voting for Melania Trump. She doesn't have a fan base. And I think probably a lot of people that might have done so have already lost their money on this shit. So, like, yeah, she's getting in late. But look at that graph. That's amazing. Look, crypto's so fucking bullshit. It's so fake. Complete rubbish.
He is as an extension of how he sees his own American
His mum was
identity.
British. People forget
Scottish,
this.
actually.
There you go. Well, firstly, Scotland and Britain are technically the same. It's part of the same country. It's sharp. Anyway, and secondly, I told you that someone was going to mention that he came out of a Scottish fanny. I told you.
She grew up in Europe.
That's a whole other debate that we don't have time for this morning. Imran, these two were being very positive and saying you have to work with them and be pragmatic. You, however, in your work, particularly in looking at the world online, have, I think it's fair to say, had some big clashes with Donald Trump's circle.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind as he prepares to take the oath again tomorrow?
Well, I think when I first moved to the States in June 2020, I worked directly with the White House, with their terrorist use of the internet people in the National Security Council. I worked with Mike Pompeo, who was then in charge of the State Department, on anti-Semitism. Ironically, we worked with the White House about COVID and COVID disinformation at the time when they were, of course, Operation...
Hang on. With COVID disinformation, you mean against COVID disinformation, right? Because like Trump was literally
creating it.
Trump was literally going, maybe if you inject light into people, that will work, or bleach, or
hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah, some horse paste, some ivermectin up your arsehole. Like, what the fuck? Honest to God, the world's gone mad.
Warp speed was really President Trump's singular triumph. Let's not forget.
No, it wasn't. He didn't do anything. What do you mean? The only thing he achieved, really, was getting a tax cut through a fucking Republican House and Senate, which is like a hot knife through butter. It's nothing. That's it. That's his achievement.
Everyone on this panel... Why is literally everyone they've managed to get in here today is just fucking gargling his balls? Like, no, push back. The guy said that, I guess I said before, that white nationalists were very fine people. He let fucking millions of people get COVID. He didn't... What the hell? Why are they glazing this man?
Because they're all fucking Tories.
Yep, well, there you go.
That it was his administration that put into place the money for the development, the manufacturing of the vaccines that came forward to deal with the COVID crisis. So we've worked with them.
What?
I think one of the things you've got to remember, though, is that...
Oxford University.
Yeah. Also, his government put the money in. So the US taxpayer put the money in. That's not his fucking money. What do you mean?
Like the one that was funded by the American was the Moderna vaccine. That came after the Pfizer one and the AstraZeneca one. And those were both created in Europe. Yep. Like Pfizer was in Germany, if I remember correctly. And then, of course, the AstraZeneca vaccine was in the UK.
True. If you want to invest your money in Kevcoin, which isn't a thing, but could be.
It's just a subscription.
Yeah, you can just give me money. Like, I've pre-pulled the rug, so you know you're going to fall to the tune of $5. That's it. But you can pretend to have a Kev coin if you want. Go for it, I guess. Apparently it's legal. You can just do that. You can just scam people. That's fine.
This is not financial advice.
No, it is. Yeah, you can scam people. You can and should scam people. Yes, you can give both of us money. You can. It's better than investing in crypto, because at least now you know you don't get anything. Actually, you get emotes, which is literally something, I guess.
Ad-free viewing.
Yeah, true.
He quite likes the chaos around him. He's actually, in one respect, not the outsider coming to drain the swamp. He's the ultimate insider's insider. He's quite sophisticated in the way that he manipulates the media environment in which he builds these alliances around him. And what we hope at CCDH is that he will also be looking at social media and saying there's some things I can agree with, there's some things maybe that are in my interest. I disagree with Piers. I don't think it's America first all the time with him. I think it really is Donald first most of the time. And I think he will say, well, look, some of my interests lie this way, my personal sentiments lie that way, but actually, when it comes to social media reform, keeping kids safe, ensuring that there's not as much hate, towards Jewish people, towards black people on those platforms, I think that he's genuinely...
Yeah, Trump really cares about getting racism off of social media. You do realise he's just appointed the fucking owner of Twitter to his cabinet, right? Like that's like literally he might as well have spray painted the N-word on the outside of the White House.
But he appointed a man who said that it was the actual truth that Jews were spreading dialectical hatred against whites.
Yeah,
that's who he promoted to the head of the Department for Government Efficiency.
Yeah.
Generally in the right place, and we hope we may be able to do some business with him.
He's a bit of a changed guy. I mean, I've spoken to him 5 or 6 times since he got shot.
Guys, he's only got one dick. You can't both suck it at the same time. Form a queue.
Yeah, remember, like Piers Morgan has the bum hole.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
this guy can have the dick.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Shot, for example. There's no doubt that surviving that assassination attempt has changed Trump.
Which one?
I've just detected it in every conversation I've had with him. There's also no doubt that having lost the last election and then spent 4 years seething about it, this time around he's had 4 years in the wilderness to really think carefully about what he got right in the first term, what he got wrong, and I think you're going to see a very different kind of Trump this time. He won't change in rhetoric, but he will change, I think, in the way he go about trying to cement his legacy.
Well, let's listen to some of that.
This is fucking pathetic. Even by the low standards of award-winning journalism, this is fucking awful. It's just a never-ending gob job to a man that no one in Britain likes.
Yeah, it's terrible approval, isn't it? -40 or some shit.
Yeah. He's the only person that's more fucking hated than Keir Starmer and Elon Musk. Like, and so like it's not even like giving a hand job to someone who's popular in the country in general, and then you can say, well, the BBC is reflecting the British people. This is the opposite of that. This is like the manufacturing consent machine needs to fucking up its stealth a little bit, because it's a bit too obvious right now.
Literally, you're absolutely right. It is absolutely deliberate desire to manufacture consent for, the Atlanticist project. Or we can't have people ever promoting anything that is against the current sitting president of the United States, because that might damage the special relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, special relationship friend. Oh, genocide friend.
Yeah. I worry about your blood pressure on a Friday. I do too, as well, Fago. Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about that. I just want to play people some of his rhetoric from the last couple of weeks. These are some of the things that Donald Trump has maybe threatened, maybe vowed. It's never quite clear what he means or whether he really means it. Have a listen to these.
Thank you very much. We need Greenland for national security purposes. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it.
I mean, they literally do. It's internationally recognised by the American government as well as Danish territory. So, I mean, they literally do. Yeah. Now, it can be argued that the people of Greenland want independence, and that's fine. How they're going to pay for themselves is another thing. I don't think the Danish government are going to cede independence to them and continue to pay for their hospitals. That seems like a bit of a piss take.
Or how they're going to engage in military defence if they go independent.
Well, I mean, ultimately, they're not. It's Denmark. No offence to Denmark, but I mean, it reminds me of the Danish political party. I think they were a kind of vaguely social democratic party. And one of their spokesperson used to have like a running joke that their defence policy was that they were going to pay for one man to sit on the border, and if the Russians turn up, to just say, we surrender. And that was it. Because what was the point? Like, if the Russians turn up, it doesn't matter how much we spend on defence, we can't defend ourselves. So let's spend that money on like hospitals and schools and shit.
Well,
no,
I
mean, that's a bit. They probably have 10 men, let's say, but you know, there's no point in Denmark having a military, is there? Really?
No, that's basically what we should be doing. Like, fucking nuclear arm. We've got we're an island nation. What the fuck are we spending money on defence?
Do the Iceland thing. Do the Iceland thing. Like, we don't have anything that people would want. It's not like we've got gold or oil or some shit. Who the fuck's going to invade us? Or with a purpose? The Romans should have fucking known that. Dickheads. So yeah, there's no... Why are we pretending that we're still like a world power?
I know, right? It's pathetic, isn't it?
It's
also, thank you, Satnav 10 gifted.
We're the guy who's lost his job and I tell you who we are. We're the fucking the pit manager from the Full Monty, who's lost his job and is pretending to his wife that he still has the job, and so he's spending money that he doesn't fucking have in order to pretend he's still employed. We are literally that. We are pretending we still have a job.
100%, 100%.
I think Zelensky's the greatest salesman in history. Every time he comes into the country, he walks away with $60 billion. The Panama Canal is vital. It's being operated by China. China. The word tariff is a beautiful word. One of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. If those
honestly, it's literally like you had a fucking meme president in a TV show, or generated by ChatGPT.
Yeah. Also, what I especially love about that is that the Americans seem to think that America is their word. No, like Brazil could call itself the United States of America, you dickheads.
Is this in South America?
Yeah, it's just America is from the tip of fucking Argentina all the way to the frozen tundras of northern Canada. You don't own the word America, so even if you do start calling it that, that would just be geographically correct as well. It would it doesn't mean it's yours, you prick.
Literally, before he even said this shit, there was a funny Trump impersonator on TikTok who literally joked that he was going to rename New Mexico to No Mexico. It's like the parodies are insufficient for reality. Amanda Iannucci's going to be out of a job.
He really is.
Aren't back. By the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East.
Now, Fiona, you can laugh.
Oh yeah, unlike the last year where it's been super quiet. Dickhead.
So at that, or you can think, actually, this man from tomorrow is going to be the most powerful man in the Western world, and does he mean those things or not? And particularly when it comes to Ukraine.
Look, either way, he's going to start deporting millions of people. So, there's fascism coming down the pipeline whether he invades Greenland or not.
True.
And how strong or not his commitment is to holding out for President Zelensky.
And by the way, I don't think he will invade Greenland. I think that's a distraction. Because he can't actually bring down the price of eggs.
No, he's going to spend so much time dealing with all the fucking inflation after he puts up tariffs and engages in a bunch of mass deportations.
Yeah. And the fact that he's literally already saying... during the campaign, he was saying, if the Ukraine situation will be solved in 1 day, give me 1 day and I'll sort it. And now he's saying we might be able to get a deal done in the first 100 days.
I mean, to be fair, he needed negative 1 day to sort out the whole ceasefire thing in Palestine.
Well, for now, but again, it's literally... it's good news in a sense that fewer bombs will fall in the next few days. But it's not actually long-term good news, this, because it's literally just a way of Israel saying, look, we offered them a ceasefire and they broke it. Doesn't matter if they did break it. The Western media will just say they broke it. And they'll go in and reoccupy, and because they've already been holding fucking, like, settler colonial fucking, you know, hoedowns, where they've been selling off bits of fucking land and, like, prospecting for fucking settlements. We already know what they want to do.
SettlerCon 2024.
Exactly.
Thank you, Thomas Newton, for the 5,500 Chilean pesos. Hey, if you forgot Chile. Well, that is, I think, yeah, because it's both Chile and Argentina that have land at the bottom of the Americas, right?
Oh, I wasn't ragging on you. Like, you can both claim to be. I think both do claim to have the most southerly point, don't they? I'm not taking an opinion on that. Argentina was just the one that.
I don't know. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah. How much is 5,500 Chilean pesos? I don't know what the conversion rate on that.
Not got a clue.
Fair enough. I always like looking that up. I like when you get a donation in like a denomination where it's so weird that the 3-letter acronym that you can't guess.
Seychellois rupees.
Yeah, TQA. What the fuck is that? What? The Tasmanian Kualumba, you know, whatever. Fucking shit.
Serbian dinar.
Is that the currency in Serbia?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, nice.
It's also the name of the currency in Iraq.
Yeah, there's loads like that, aren't there?
Well, the dinar, it comes from a specific like root word, right? Denarius.
Yeah, which is an old Roman coin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, the Roman Empire stretched that far, didn't they?
Indeed so.
What is your sense of what do you think you'll really do? You know, what are the risks and maybe what are the opportunities have we seen in the last 24 hours?
Well, look, a lot of it is rhetoric, and it's a different way of doing diplomacy.
You are a fucking useless cunt. Shut the fuck up. It's a different way of doing diplomacy. Well, bullying is a different way of doing friendship. Yes. Yeah. No, you're quite correct. You're quite correct. Murdering someone is a different way of doing healthcare. Yeah. Fuck off.
And that is the challenge.
Look, he's literally threatening to invade the sovereign territory of a NATO ally. To the point where he's now threatening to do a thing that if he did, he would be duty bound by the Article 5 to declare war on himself for having hostilely invaded a NATO country. He would have to come to defence of NATO by invading America with American forces to liberate America from America.
Or do you think the Air Force Army would go to war with their Army and their Navy Army all together all at once?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
No, so it's the Air Forces, right? I'm sorry. I was going to say it was the America has 3 of the 4 biggest air forces in the world, right?
Yeah. But you know who wins overall? You know who wins, I reckon? Coast Guard. Coast Guard sits back and lets them cut each other to pieces and just strolls in. Well, look who's the only motherfucker with guns now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you become the Coast Guard of
time.
America. The Coast Guard, they've been playing the long game. Smart.
The establishment of diplomacy, if you like, reading between the lines, what's he trying to achieve?
I love the Coast Guard like as a military thing. I remember them saying that Iran had fired on an American Coast Guard ship, and I was like, Iran fired at America? Oh no, the American Coast Guard was in the Straits of Hormuz. What?
Of course it was.
That's the American coast now, is it? I think you may have misinterpreted the name of your service. Jesus. It's not the US guarding all of the coast of Earth. It's your coast that you're supposed to, the bit that's you. Dickheads.
For example, when he talks about America first, he's not a silly man. He knows that America, whilst one of the biggest...
No, he's not a silly man. He's just offended by the phrase Gulf of Mexico, which he wasn't annoyed with the first 4 years. And so it's totally not a distraction at all. No, very serious.
Economies in the world is still reliant on other countries and still needs global order and global security. So I think going back to the original
Do you
question,
think Trump
how does the
actually
UK...
thinks that?
I don't think any of these believe a fucking word they've said. Honestly, all of the people that we've seen on this show so far have been lying wankers. Ironically, the most truthful person was the person in Israel giving us basic facts about what's happening around them.
Yeah,
I'm in a
that's
square.
basically-
I'm in a square where there were supposed to be hostages, but there are no hostages. Back to you. That was the only true thing we fucking heard on this show.
Manage him, and I don't think there is any necessarily managing him, but how do we deal with him?
Thank you.
Is
Sorry.
that whether
Thank you, Thomas Newton, for another 5,500 Chilean pesos. Denmark becomes Zenmark. Try the fish.
You silly moose. Oh. I'll invade Earth, rename it America. Simple as. What? That doesn't make any sense. Thank you. Trump's policy meeting. What is this?
you laugh at it, laugh at what he says, or take it seriously or not, there's always something behind it.
But there is the huge anxiety about the approach he might take to Ukraine, and it's changed. You know, he used to say, "I want to end the world on the war on day one." Now they talk about 3 to 6 months. From your security briefings, and this is what you do now for a living, what's your take on what his plan?
5,500 Chilean pesos is £4.46.
Hey.
That's all right. Giving you nearly a tenner. £9. Yeah, that's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, our Chilean friend.
Really is.
Well, I don't think that he would say that he can win a negotiation publicly on Ukraine unless he had had previous conversations. He must
No,
know...
what? No, the guy's fucking wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. The guy thinks he'll be able to do anything.
Yeah, like,
of course he thinks he can.
He was saying during the thing, "Give me one day and I'll have it done." So obviously that's not true. That he's the most boastful
and Vladimir
wanker.
said no way, and I said way.
Yeah, like he's the most boastful, arrogant bullshitter ever. And she's like, "There's no way he'd say that publicly if he hadn't got reassurances behind the. What the fuck are you talking about? Stop lying."
So I believe that Putin has got a set of demands, but also...
Yeah, which is the entirety of Ukraine. That's his demand. He wants all of Ukraine. Which, I'll be honest with you, is going to be difficult for Zelensky to really give in to, I think. There might be a bit of an issue with that.
It's tough because, of course, the biggest question for Ukraine and for Russia is whether NATO will basically publicly say that they will not allow entry of Ukraine. And that has been a red line for a long time. But look, you're talking about opportunities. One of the things that has emerged from the invasion of Ukraine is a completely different defence sector, because they have been going over usual procurement procedures because of the very nature of the threat. That has led to a whole new defence industry, which, by the way, America is about to seize. We have elements of it in the UK right now, and that is what we need to understand as a new lever of diplomacy with America.
We're short on time today because there's so much breaking news, but just, do you think, Imran, that Donald Trump being back in the White House makes the world a safer or more dangerous place?
I think it makes it a much more chaotic place and a much more confusing place. One of the things that Peter Thiel said about...
So that's less safe. Yeah, that's less safe then, isn't it? I don't know about you, but when I hear the word chaos, I do not associate that with calm.
No, that it's not particularly synonymous.
Like, if you were to do, like, okay, war and peace as two, like, options here, which one of those would you associate more with the word chaos? Just a little experiment for you there, chat.
About who's a great mega billionaire tech investor. He said...
And certifiable wanker. Like,
yes.
proper wanker. But thankfully, he will sweat himself to death soon, so that's nice. He's a very shiny man.
In the first Trump presidency, take him seriously, but not literally. I would see it a different way.
So take him seriously because he's a lying bastard. I mean, okay. I mean, that's actually not bad advice, in all honesty. Yeah.
first Trump presidency is sort of the good, the bad, the ugly. You had the ugly, which was a lot of the rhetoric. You had the bad, which was some of his policies were, you know...
some of his policies were pretty bad. Yeah, that is true.
Well, it's basically tax cuts for the rich. The government policy of creating orphans on the border.
Yeah, there was the orphan policy, which wasn't great.
And horse paste for all.
Yes, his killing more people than the American Civil War policy was also bad.
Things like tax cuts for billionaires at the expense of the American middle class and working class. What an outrageous thing to do. And at the same time, you also had some really good stuff as well.
Yeah, imagine that, Conservatives. Tax cuts for rich people at the expense of working class people. That's a terrible thing, isn't it, Conservatives? Just let that sit there for a second.
Like, for example, the response to COVID and some of his criminal justice reforms. I mean, he actually...
His COVID reform, the COVID policy, fucking... He didn't do a proper lockdown, just threw some stimulus checks at people. And that was his only policy. Yeah, that was
literally more people died of COVID in America than the American Civil War. Which both sides were American dead, yeah.
Like, America had like one of the most, like, the highest per capita death rates of any country in the developed world.
Yep.
Reform the criminal justice system to reduce the use of custodial sentences.
Pierce, briefly, is he going to cut taxes for his very many wealthy friends again?
Well, I'm sure he might, but I think he's going to do a lot of other things. I mean, let's not forget that also in his first term, he's the guy that made NATO countries finally pay their dues, which has actually made all of them more secure. So you're talking about, are we more secure? I would say yes. And also, Trump is somebody who does not believe in war. He thinks war is bad for business.
He shouldn't really have been supporting the genocide then? Or, you know, doing all those drone strikes? Maybe?
Yeah, or tucking out to Erdogan and allowing them to invade Rojava, or killing Qasem Soleimani, or doing more drone strikes in 4 years than Obama did in 8.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think, some holes in Piers's argument here.
He's threatening to invade fucking Greenland.
Yeah, and Panama, lest we forget.
I'm
please think
with
of
that
David
being
Cameron's
the American
bank account.
president's view.
Okay, well, we're going to talk and look ahead to the inauguration.
No, actually, don't say that. You'll get fucking exploded. Okay, just leave it. The message was sent. Okay, fucking read the room.
Or was it Amber Rudd who had the bank account in Panama?
No. Well, it was the Panama Papers certainly revealed that David Cameron had, let's say, illicit, and his father had illicit tax slush funds or whatever. Yeah. But thankfully, that journalist got exploded, so we didn't need to care about that. It's fine. Just normal business as usual. Democracy.
Yeah. We have to leave it there for now, all three of you. Thank you very much, because it's a busy news morning. Just a reminder, if you've just turned on this morning, the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza has now come into effect. That happened at 9:15 British time this morning.
I'll be honest with you.
If you were born on US soil...
wank me sideways. Sorry, I clicked on
American president's view.
Okay, well,
right, there we go. Anyway, no one watches this for news, Laura. Nobody tuning into your show thinks they're going to get news. I come here for slop. I come here for outrage. Don't give me fucking breaking news. You're not a news program. You're a joke.
We're going to talk and look ahead to the inauguration at the end of the programme, but you've just turned on this morning. The ceasefire between Israel and Gaza has now come into effect. That happened at 9:15 British time this morning, delayed by about 3 hours. But it finally happened after Hamas released the names of the 3 hostages that they will be releasing. Emily Damari is a young British-Israeli woman, is one of them.
Okay, come on.
And we can speak now
know
to
this
her
now.
family's lawyer, Adam Rose, who joins us on the line this morning. Thank you so much for speaking to us. You've been in touch with the Damari family this morning. How are they?
I think they're just waiting. They're waiting to have absolute confirmation that he is coming out. Our advice has always been, until somebody is in your arms and being hugged and they're alive and well, you have to assume that nothing is happening and I suppose prepare for the worst. But hopefully Emily is well. Hopefully Emily will come out this afternoon. Hopefully she'll be given medical care, and then she'll be hugged.
And has Mandy, her mother, had any contact at all, or any knowledge of how she is, or even if she, none whatsoever?
Correct.
That must be incredibly, just absolutely so difficult for her. How is she this morning?
Waiting, anxious. I think the none of the hostage families know anything about any of their family members. There have been 1 or 2 signs of life over the past 13, 14 months since the November 23 short ceasefire and releases of hostages. When we found out things, the families, there are 98 hostages, of whom we know a significant number are dead.
I tell you, honestly, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of how, basically within a week of each other, we had the submersible exploding by the Titanic with 4 billionaires in it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, and a kid who didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
God rest that guy. God rest the kid's soul. He didn't deserve it. But, you know, can give a shit about some billionaires sinking on a bloody submersible they chose to get into. And then at the same time, like, was it 15 or 20 people died on a boat across the Mediterranean headed for Italy, and everyone was just like, didn't give a shit, even though we got like every single boat in the fucking Atlantic Ocean out to search for 4 billionaires in a fucking tin can. This is what it feels like to me. The level to which we discuss the hostages, which again, it's sad. It's bad that they were taken hostage. I feel sorry for the families. I'm sure they've been absolutely distraught. And, you know, the people who've been held hostage in Gaza have had a pretty torrid time. I have all of the sympathy. Do I have as much sympathy as I do for the tens of thousands of Gazans who've been mercilessly slaughtered by the genocidal fucking mayhem by the IDF? Well, no. You know, you may have been held hostage, but at least you're not dead.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, the lopsidedness. Like, you can tell there's one side that are treated as human, and one side that literally, they haven't even mentioned that there are hostages even going in the other direction. Those people literally don't matter.
Yep.
But thankfully they did.
Those ones that the Israeli government had an argument about whether it's legitimate to rape them or not.
Yeah, those ones. Or the one where there was the kid that was raped and the Israeli government literally destroyed evidence of that having happened.
And there was a riot. So there was a riot to free the rapists.
Yeah. But thankfully, we live in a democracy where we just have currently 2 of our sitting members of parliament have been arrested for walking in the street with some flowers.
Leader of the free world.
Literally true, by the way. John Blicombe Concrete, otherwise known as literal Adolf Hitler, and his former Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, John McDonnell, have both been arrested because they took part in a march with some flowers because they were going to honour the Palestinian dead.
Should have just strongly worded letters to Netanyahu, John.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing he'll take away from this is that's the last time I do anything. I should have just stuck to fucking posting a letter again. The last time I try and achieve anything.
I believe that a majority, according to the Israeli authorities, of the 33 on the current list are alive. But we don't know who's alive and who's dead.
At the moment, though, your expectation is that Emily will be released this afternoon. What is her mother Mandy's plan? Is she there in the region to meet her?
She lives in Israel. She lives on she lived on Kibbutz Kfar Aza, which is where Emily was taken from on the 7th of October 23. Mandy was there when it was attacked by Hamas. Her daughter, who lived in a little house, which I visited in January 24, was taken.
When you say what's the mother's plan there, what's he supposed to say? Like, oh, they're going to go out on the lash, obviously, because she's going to be gagging for a pint. Fucking hell. I imagine Hamas were not exactly, the nightlife wasn't great. So they're probably going out on the pull, I reckon. What the fuck, what are you going to say?
Exactly, like, wait, they're gonna spend quality time that they've not had for fucking, a year and a half. I mean, it's a very weird question. Thank you, Thomas, by the way, for another 5,500 pesos. They bombed the area where the hostages were. They own bloody IDF. The hostages were expendable by the government. Yep, very true.
Come on, random South Americans, give me money too in your weird denominations, so I can translate that into real money. Actually, that works for people who aren't South American as well.
From her little home. That was the last that was seen of Emily. So we'll have to wait and see. But my expectation is that things will follow roughly the course that they followed in November 23, which is the hostage will be handed over to the Red Cross. The Red Cross will hand the hostage over to the Israelis, and the Israelis will take the hostage to some medical center for care. And being reunited with the family. And some of the hostages who are released will be in pretty decent condition, and some will be in awful condition, and some will be dead.
Adam, thank you so much for your time on a really difficult and dramatic morning. And everybody, of course, we want us to send our best wishes to Emily's family. Thanks so much indeed for being with us this morning.
Thank you, Laura.
Well, and of course, if we have any more updates on that during the programme, we'll bring you them, and we will be speaking to Sharon Lifshitz, whose father has been held hostage towards the end of the programme. Let's then return to Washington, D.C. The Conservatives know what it's like to deal with Trump's team, as we've been hearing from Fiona with us this morning. Priti Patel, the shadow Foreign Secretary, who has bagged an invite to tomorrow's swearing-in ceremony, is there. And I talked to her in Washington last night before we knew what was happening with the ceasefire in Gaza. And we spoke about the...
I think, honestly, my favourite trumped-up nonsense story of the week was Mike Graham trying to dunk on Keir Starmer for not going to the inauguration. And then
Not being invited, even.
Not being invited, yeah. But then it was pointed out that not a single British Prime Minister has ever attended an American inauguration.
I don't think very many have been invited at all.
No, because it's like, why would you? Like, we send an ambassador there. Like, the Prime Minister's got shit to do. Like,
true.
Yeah, it's not. Also, it's a weird bullshit process anyway. You saw what happens in Britain. The dickhead just turns up the next day in Downing Street. Boom, get on with it. None of this pomp and none of this speeches and all that. Fuck off. Get on with the job. You're on the clock, dickhead. You're getting paid. Do some fucking work.
No. Whoa. Getting paid? Isn't that what Wahid Ali's money is for?
True, he was already getting major bank.
True. Also, thank you, Thomas, for another 5,500 pesos. Very generous of you. Hey, post-Brexit, we both have coloured funny money. Very true.
True. I mean, honestly, I imagine that the Chilean peso will be worth more than the UK pound at some point. I imagine.
Incoming administration.
Well, I think, first of all, it's not just hopes for his administration, it's also about Britain's place.
How is her... honestly, I don't want to be rude, but, like, her jaw is wider than the rest of her head. That shouldn't be the widest part of your fucking head.
I think it's real Dylan Burns vibes.
It really is. It works with him, though, because you think, like, he's got a fucking sculpted jawline, like... Yeah, no, he probably takes it to Pound Town every night, you know what I'm saying? But... yeah, I don't know, Pretty. No, yeah.
In the world and our relationship with the United States of America, which clearly is a long-standing and enduring relationship and partnership. Our two countries have achieved monumental outcomes in the past, monumental outcomes, you know, right back to ending the Cold War, to economic security and peace and prosperity. We need to continue to build upon that. And at a time when our world is facing so many...
Peace and prosperity. We invaded Iraq together. We invaded Afghanistan together.
Yeah,
we gave weapons to the Taliban together.
But no, peace here, mostly. If we ignore 9/11
True.
or whatever,
We gave weapons
mostly.
We gave weapons together to Indonesia to do genocide in East Timor.
But you're not picking up the message here again, are you? Right? It's those are brown people far away, so that's fine. Those don't matter as long as it's white people here. It's, you know what I mean. That's as long as we're peaceful.
True.
Like, I love when you say like the you know, during peacetime. There's never been peacetime with America. Not since maybe 1778 or whatever. I don't fucking know. Like, you've always been at war with some fucker. War is what you do. Because we taught you that. We made you that way.
I was also going to critique us saying, well, brought prosperity to America and the UK. And I'm like, well, no, you didn't. And the rest, no, she means for the billionaires. Yeah, of course. It's true. Yeah, they didn't bring prosperity to both, you know, the shareholders of Facebook and OnlyFans.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but like America literally made us give up cod to Iceland. How the fuck are you bringing us prosperity? You made us lose 2 wars to fucking Iceland. They don't even have a military.
They made us pay money back to the fucking slave owners.
Mad shit. What political party does Patel represent? She is a conservative, and a wanker. Although I do repeat myself.
Global challenges. We've just spoken about the Middle East, but also other conflicts. We've seen the issue of China, which is obviously very topical in the UK right now as well. We need to ensure that our strong and closest ally is really in lockstep with us. And you've asked about aspirations and hopes. I'd say from Britain's perspective, that also means reopening discussions around a trade deal.
It is, as you say, a special alliance between our 2 countries, but allies also normally are meant to be reliable. Donald Trump often says outlandish things. Do you always believe what Mr. Trump says?
My chat are very, very sensible people. Very sensible, very normal. I'm glad they get to vote in elections too.
Love it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, that would be one of the trickier wanks. I'm not saying I couldn't do it. I'm just saying,
I mean, I guess, as I said, it's a very, very special relationship. America has sex with our wife while we sit on a chair in the corner wanking. That is the special relationship.
And we get to clean up afterwards. Yum.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think it's about just reading into his statements. I think our relationship is actually built on mutual respect and trust.
Oh, Jesus Christ. They let you turn up. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
And also, just like, since when have America ever respected us? Again, they do literally treat us like a vassal state, and we're very happy to oblige. Like, both the Atlanticists seem to entirely base their position on Atlanticism, that we should just do whatever they say, and that we should be there. We should be a protectorate within the American empire. They truly do believe this.
Yeah, that's why when people say like, "Oh, we should become the 51st state," why would they bother? They get everything they want from us without having to give us anything. It's the same.
Exactly. They don't have to cede They don't have to cede democratic power to us when we get to do whatever they say without having any say in the matter at all.
We are the Mongolia to America's USSR. Why would they?
Very true.
Why would they ever give us the rights of being one of the states when they get everything they want from us anyway?
Exactly.
We have strong people-to-people ties. Security and defence is at the heart of what we do, including the Five Eyes relationship. So I think our relationship will always be built upon trust and mutual respect.
But what about some of the things he's said since he's been elected, even suggesting that the United States should take over Canada? I mean, they're our Commonwealth ally. Do you not think King Charles would be a bit sad to see them absorbed and becoming...
Who gives a fuck what Sausage Fingers thinks? Again, are we a democracy? Sorry. It might make the king sad.
That's like
not that they're an independent
That's...
country, not that they're an ally, not that lots of British people live there. No. The fucking old heart attack McGee might croak it over Canada. Fuck off.
This is the high level of questioning you get on award-winning journalist Laura Coon's
award-winning mince pies. Let's go.
literally.
The 51st state of the United States. Do you believe him when he says that?
Well, look, we don't know. He'll be inaugurated on Monday. I think we need to wait and see what his policies are.
But again, have the balls to say no. It would obviously be a bad thing if he invaded Canada, because obviously it would be. What the fuck are you talking about?
Like, why do we have to do the song and dance?
Yeah.
Where these politicians just try and, fucking tease out, well, we don't think it may be really. Just say they would be fucking stupid. Why do we have to just continually have the wool pulled over our eyes and we just continually play this choreographed routine when everyone can tell that it's dumb?
Yeah, it's very dumb. And again, it's just a distraction anyway. I'm not going to fucking invade Canada. Again, Why would they do that? They already get everything they want from Canada. All of their oil and natural gas, all of the, everything they could possibly want. They even get their shitty healthcare subsidised by Americans nipping over the border to get actual fucking drugs that they couldn't possibly afford in America. They get everything they want from Canada. Why give them statehood?
Yeah.
Why would they allow millions of communoids to vote in their elections?
After Monday.
Think how much more fucking money Elon Musk would have to pay to buy the election if you allow Canada in.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate and recognise he has made statements. Clearly, we will, the Commonwealth is absolutely intrinsic to the United Kingdom, and we've been leading the Commonwealth and Commonwealth countries. First and foremost, we need to understand what his policies will be going forward. Many of the areas where we've always worked together, I've already spoken about economic security and prosperity, security, defence ties, but also working with our friends and allies outside of America, including in the...
Like Denmark or Canada? Maybe?
The ones he says he wants to invade.
Yeah, those ones. The ones he's literally threatened to invade. Or how about Panama? Panama, that's another one. He's threatened to invade them. I don't know if they're technically allies, but we're chill with them,
It's also funny talking about our defence ties. What you mean, the nuclear weapons that we have, that they control.
And that they get to have secret listening bases that we know they use to spy on our citizens. And we just allow that to happen.
Yep. And it's the same way the Australian government is completely cucked out to America, and there's a CIA base at Pine Gap, and everyone knows it, and it's not allowed to not be there. It's just spying on the Australians.
Yeah, but at least they didn't unseat a British Prime Minister in order to keep their shit like they did in Australia.
True.
Look up the unseating of was it Gough Whitlam? I think was his name.
It is Gough Whitlam.
Yeah.
We may say God save the Queen, but no one will save the Governor General.
Exactly. So look up Gough Whitlam. That sounds like an American fucking superhero character now.
Well, you're renaming the Gulf of Mexico. Gough Whitlam.
Gough Whitlam. Gough Whitlam, former American, fuck's sake, Australian Prime Minister, and how he became not Prime Minister anymore. It's very interesting.
The Commonwealth, but also other allies who...
If you thought the CIA only cooed brown people countries... Technically, there are lots of brown people in Australia. Far fewer than there used to be, though. Again,
True.
You can look into that. It's a long history.
Sometimes have been at threat and risk, and
but it's an important point, though, isn't it? Do you fundamentally feel able to believe what Donald Trump says? Alliances, as you said, are based on trust and respect. Do you believe him when he says he wants to take over Canada or he wants to take over Greenland? Or is he just trying to create a stir to get everybody into a frenzy and then, take his pick further down the line?
Laura, we don't know that. We don't know what his motivation is because we don't know what his policy is going to be yet. So I think we should wait for the policies of...
Wow, if only there had been an election where journalists could have teased out that kind of information. But unfortunately there wasn't such a thing, so... No, never mind.
Well, no. They've got concepts of a plan, Kevin.
They do have concepts of a plan, yeah.
President Trump and his administration to come forward and, as ever, we will, as a country, and, we're an opposition party, our government will also look at that.
And good friends are able to disagree. You stood by your criticisms of Donald Trump at the end of his last administration and those Capitol riots on January.
Yeah, but I thought he wasn't coming back. But like the pussy that I am, just like fucking dickhead in the studio there, we didn't think he was going to come back, and so we thought we were free to just say what we actually believed about him. And now we have to row it back because we have no spines.
Yep.
Yay.
January the 6th, if he puts forward controversial ideas like extra tariffs, increasing the cost for British people, British companies doing business with the United States, would you be prepared to tell him he's wrong?
Well, of course, we have to stand up for our interests. That's absolutely right. And you've already heard me refer to the fact that I think...
Is the sovereignty of fellow NATO allies not in our interest? I would argue that's in our interest, considering we literally have a guarantee to protect them.
Hang on a minute, Kevin. NATO, I can give a shit about NATO. The really important thing about what's in our interest is that the king would be sad. That's the important...
No, he would have a boo-boo, yeah. So, yeah. You know what? Yeah, fuck it. Let's just go to war. If it means the king isn't sad, let's just do some war. Fuck yes.
This government, the Labour government, should now, Keir Starmer and David Lammy should resume talks over a free trade deal. We set the work in motion when we were last in government. And you're right, when it comes...
Yeah, we set the wheels in motion for privatisation. We've set it up on a tee for you, lads. The goal's open, knock it in. Let's have you.
So tariffs, that is not conducive at all to economic growth and prosperity, let alone economic security. So it's right. I mean, at the end of the day, friends can speak candidly to one another, and I think that's really why our relationship is an enduring relationship.
And should the government be prepared to give ground on standards on food and agriculture?
Yes, I personally think it's fine for the plebs to have to eat nothing but chlorinated chicken. Just chlorine, not even chicken. Just force feed them fucking chlorine. I don't care.
In order to get a trade deal, viewers will remember that was a controversial thing for your party, and many.
Is the king on Canadian money? I think he is, isn't he? Although it might still be the Queen. That's probably still legal tender the Queen shit, right? I imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, to be fair, I mean, yeah. I mean, Laura Kuenssberg here is trying to say that there was a tough time for the Conservative government about the potential trade deal. Well, a potential trade deal that involved the Trump campaign fucking buying out bits of the NHS wasn't enough to stop Boris Johnson. So, clearly the public don't care.
Well, obviously, and also it was Nazi boy that told us that, so we can't trust it. It's anti-Semitic to say he was going to privatise the NHS.
True.
Fact.
People just weren't willing to do that, to allow different kinds of products into this country that aren't currently permitted.
Well, what I'd say to this, Laura, is that this is why trade discussions must...
Well, talking of things being brought into the country that are not permitted and that having potential legal ramifications, did you see that... hang on a second, stop sharing. I certainly saw... this was certainly from Manchester Police, but I think it's in a couple of other areas as well, where dickheads who have brought in Tesla Cybertrucks have had them confiscated.
Not because it's illegal or anything, just because they're embarrassing the country.
Yeah, just because you're a knobhead, mate. So fuck off. No, it's because it literally doesn't meet our safety standards. You can't. It's not roadworthy, therefore you don't have legal insurance. The car gets impounded.
It's so funny. It's the one product that Elon Musk has had any hand in designing, and it's a fucking lump of shit.
It's a lump of shit. It looks awful. It's unsafe. It will chop your fucking hands off if it doesn't burn you to death first or crash you into a bus of school children or something. It's also not roadworthy or legal. So don't bring them here. You will have them confiscated.
And it's the real life Homer car, isn't it?
It really is. It really
is. Exactly what it is.
Fucking awful. Look at it. Bag of shit.
If you think that this is cool, if you think that this is something that people would be envious of you owning, I've used the insult before, but I'll reuse it. You should not be allowed to use metal cutlery. No, plastic and wooden cutlery only from now on, right?
Yeah, honestly, we need to take sharp things away from you. Yeah.
The fact that we can't trust you with metal cutlery means we definitely cannot trust you with that fucking ton of metal in your car. You probably kind of got a car. It's a fucking death trap.
Yeah, it is a death trap. Absolutely fucking awful.
I'm 14 and this is cool. Yeah, again, Elon Musk is just a fucking 14-year-old stuck in the body of a decrepit man.
Yeah. But thankfully, I mean, rarely do I say, well done to the police, but for once, they've done something to keep the British public a little bit safer. It's very rare, almost vanishingly rare police W, but...
Absolutely.
Fair play.
The Met are filling up their W quota to even out the absolutely fucking metric shit ton of L's they took today.
Yeah, if you could maybe not imprison members of Parliament for peaceful protest, and maybe do something about the rapists and racists and stuff in your ranks, and in the ranks of Parliament, that would be cool.
Be nice.
That would be good, actually. Thank you. Considering you cost us so much money and you're fucking shit.
resume. I think that's absolutely vital, because it's only through having honest discussions about a trade arrangement, a trade agreement, will these issues come to the fore.
In America, the social media app TikTok looks set to be banned, to go dark this weekend. Should the UK consider that too?
Well, I've always said this, and as a former Home Secretary...
Of course she thinks it should be. She's a fucking mentalist.
Well, no, there's a reason why.
I've always said this. TikTok is gay. So, yeah, fuck TikTok.
I mean, there's probably one very big reason that Priti Patel wants TikTok banned. Is because she's a shill for Israel. She's always been a shill for Israel. She's been absolutely coming down on the pro-Zionist message with regards to what's happening in Gaza. I mean, it has been for the last 15 months.
Wasn't it her that got fired for having illicit meetings with Israeli authorities when she was a government minister and she wasn't telling the government? So technically she was guilty of espionage?
Yep, she was Home Secretary at the time. That's why she lost her job and was replaced with Suella Braverman. This is exactly why. Because she was the one who started off the Rwanda deal as Home Secretary. She is absolutely somebody who has intimate links with the Israeli government and the Israeli state. And so, of course, she hates TikTok, because the reason why it got banned was because, as Mitt Romney told Anthony Blinken, right, two sides of the same coin on stage together, saying, well, TikTok has to get banned because it's overwhelmingly pro-Palestinian. He directly said that.
Yep. But anyway, this obvious Israeli agent is just allowed to represent Britain here.
And she's a shadow foreign secretary, and she's in the pocket of a foreign power.
Don't you love democracy?
To online platforms and the permissive nature.
Well, that's what it means. Foreign secretary. You're the secretary for foreign people.
She is a foreign secretary.
She is a foreign secretary. Yeah. Well, actually, that sounds racist. No, we won't go there.
Oh, sorry.
Of course.
Thank you for correcting me, Richie. When she was sacked from Secretary of State for International Development when she was found to be in cahoots with Israel, and then they just after that
made her Home Secretary after that.
After being gotten rid of from a lower position as a Secretary of State for International Development, she was then demoted and then just promoted further than that to the fucking Home Secretary.
So rather than it being treated as espionage, what it was a job interview. She went there to be interviewed by the Israeli government to become the Home Secretary of the United Kingdom. Yeah.
I mean, it's like that moment in the Constable Savage part of Not the 9 O'Clock News, where he goes on this big rant about how you've been engaging in racial profiling. How dare you? Therefore, I'm promoting you.
Yeah.
When it comes to TikTok, specifically, it is, linked to China, and we have a very, very clear approach, not just from my party, but also in the UK, in terms of China and some of the national security.
Yeah, we just allow them to build our nuclear sites, and that's perfectly normal and fine and good. No national security implications there whatsoever.
Security and, dare I say it, just the day-to-day security concerns that their platforms bring to our country. So I think it's fair to say we will be following what is happening in America with regards to TikTok on many of the concerns that are being raised over here.
So should it be banned then? Are you considering it?
So I'm not considering it. We should always be looking at what other countries are doing. It's too binary.
What? Oh God! Can any British politician have an opinion, please? Like, she was literally doing the "fuck China, China's a piece of shit." So you think we should ban it? No, I'm not saying that. What are you fucking saying then? What? So you think there is a national security threat and that China are trying to fuck us, but actually we should just let them?
And even that, the thing is, it's obvious that these concerns, quote unquote, about China data mining using TikTok is patently absurd. Totally absurd, especially when we know that the Western social media apps have been trawling our data like nobody's business. I mentioned before, like the Cambridge Analytica stuff with Facebook.
Yep.
That's far more intrusive data mining from Facebook.
And that was nearly 10 fucking years ago. That was nearly 10 years ago now.
Yeah, there's far more data mining you'd ever get with TikTok. And that was never a concern, especially not for the Conservatives, again, who benefited from the Cambridge Analytica scandal. And they just fucking blew over. People just forgot about it. It was a big story. It's like the Panama Papers. There was a story for 5 minutes and then nothing happened.
Yep.
to say, should we just ban this in the UK? We have to look at the concerns that are reflected overseas, so here in America, learn some lessons and take some of those considerations into our own judgment before we come up with policy ideas.
Your leader, Kemi Badenoch, said this week that there was no plan for how to make Brexit work. You were one of the leading advocates for Vote Leave. Do you think you should apologise? She says that you didn't have a plan.
Well, first of all...
That's not true. They had 50 different plans, none of which they were ever going to have to implement because they weren't the government.
Well, they had a concept of a plan.
They did. They had a bus. They had a bus of a plan.
And wasn't she literally in the cabinet at the time of dissolution in 2019?
She was.
And so they could literally have had any amount of plan for this. They even went to the election lying about the plan that they said that they
Oven-ready
had.
deal.
Yeah, exactly. As you're saying, the oven-ready deal, which we know wasn't oven-ready because Ian Paisley Jr. was given assurances in private by Boris Johnson in the run-up to the election.
This is what you're getting wrong. When you heard oven-ready, you thought he meant oven-ready as in it was going to be edible. Technically, you can put a dog turd in an oven. That's oven-ready. That's fine.
But yes,
he didn't say oven-ready and edible. So that's read the fine print, people.
They went into the election saying they had an oven-ready deal. But as I said, Ian Paisley Jr. had been given direct assurances from Boris Johnson that they were never going to implement the Northern Ireland Protocol. The deal wasn't oven-ready, and as soon as they won the election, they were going to renegotiate it. Like, that was a promise given to Ian Paisley Jr. It was a fucking lie, a total lie.
And that's Ian Paisley Jr., the man that took free holidays from the Sri Lankan government and then started suspiciously asking questions about the Sri Lankan government's foreign policy in the House of Commons, and that was found out, and he hadn't published that information, and faced no punishment whatsoever.
That's probably why Priti Patel and Ian Paisley Jr. are such good friends. They like taking expenses paid trips to countries that we have nebulous relationships with.
And questionable human rights records.
Quite.
Yeah.
We had plans around Brexit. You will remember the Withdrawal Act. You will also remember, Laura, as the British people will as well, the British public, the Acts of Parliament that went through because we had to legislate, first of all, to start the Brexit process going forward.
But Kemi Badenoch says you didn't have a plan. She's your leader now. She said that the Brexiteers didn't have enough of a plan to make it happen.
There's a distinction. There's a distinction between saying we didn't have a plan to actually put in process the legislation that led to the enacting Brexit. So there's a distinction between the two. So in terms of long-term sustainable proposals,
no, you didn't.
Right to
recognise. You didn't mention two things. You can't draw a distinction between one thing and not a thing.
I love how her distinction that she's doing here, that she's trying to do. Well, we had a plan to trigger the Article 50 and to initiate Brexit. We didn't have a plan on literally anything else. I have plenty of criticisms of Kemi Badenoch, infinite and myriad, because she's awful and terrible. But one thing she is correct on is that they had no plan on any policies post-Brexit. Nothing. They had nothing idea what Brexit was going to do. Like the mechanics, some of it was worked out, as I said about Northern Ireland, that wasn't even worked out at all. So they didn't actually have a plan on the withdrawal in the first place. And they also didn't have a plan about what Brexit was going to do, how they were going to change economically to take advantage of Brexit. Like, none of this was a plan. Kemi is 100% correct. What the fuck is Priti Patel talking about?
They had a concept of, oh, fuck, can't be bothered.
Clearly,
didn't have a plan.
Wider plans needed to be put in place.
Priti Patel, thank you so much for joining us from Washington, D.C. Thank you.
Absolutely pointless again.
Well,
literally,
one of Donald Trump's big tasks
literally, like all I can think of is that part from the debate where Trump goes, she didn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan. And it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. That's all I can think of.
God. Oh, God, he's going to be president. Oh,
Yay.
So shit. Like, I mean, it would be shit if it was anyone else, because the only people who can get elected to that office in the capitalist hellscape we live in would be a wanker. But, like, they had to choose the biggest wanker. They couldn't have gone for a slightly less wankery wanker. They had to go for, like, the biggest prick ever.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks.
The fallout of the California fires.
I'm not listening to a millionaire whinge. I'm not fucking doing it. You can fuck off. Is there anything else after this? Who is this person?
the daughter of one of the hostages.
Again, don't want to be rude, but don't really give a fuck. Like, I feel sorry for them, and I hope they get to see their family member soon, and that would be cool. But like,
he's probably dead, to be honest.
Okay, well, I hope they're able to grieve properly then. Whatever. I'm just trying to say, like, I don't ultimately give a fuck about this as a news story. On a personal level, yeah, good for them. I hope it works out well, but this isn't a fucking... I don't care. This isn't a news story as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like, a person whose family member was stolen is sad. Okay, yeah, obviously, yes. Yeah, we get that. So on that slightly callous bombshell, I'm going to leave it for the night. I don't know, are you carrying on?
No, I'm very tired. I've been going for 2.5 hours now, so I would very much like...
Ian Paisley's in Washington, D.C. What? Ian Paisley Jr.?
Why wouldn't he be?
Well, because he's nobody. He's not even a fucking MP anymore. He's literally nothing. He's now just the guy who came out of the balls of the Save Ulster from Sodomy campaign.
I mean, like, clearly, you know, the Donald Trump campaign wants to save America from sodomy, and they're just getting in an expert on how to do it. An expert who clearly failed, though, because they didn't save Northern Ireland from sodomy.
They did not save Northern Ireland from sodomy. Yeah. Can we do? I think I'm gonna try and carry on the couch fucking meme for 4 years. It's going to get very tiresome, but if there's one thing you know about me, chat, that has never put me off before. Never. That is not a deterrent as far as I'm concerned. Being boring is my MO. Anyway.
I think, by the way, John, do you not mean the Village People? YMCA is the name of the song.
What?
Sorry, John in chat says that YMCA is the group playing his inauguration, and I'm like, I understand that this is indeed terribly cringe, and also very...
The Young Men's Christian Association. They're supposed to be apolitical.
Yeah, the gay anthem, the YMCA, some of the Village People, the famously anti-queer president's inauguration.
Although interestingly, did you know only one of the Village People was actually gay?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can't remember which one, but the rest of them were just straight. They were just a pop group, and it was a gimmick. And it worked, to be fair. We're still talking about them, and they haven't released a song in fucking 40 years.
True.
Although it beats... I think that beats... Who did they have? Was it 3 Doors Down? The last time round, didn't they? Which is, like, embarrassing. 2001 cringe.
Basically every single presidential inauguration's musical choices have been cringe.
No, didn't Bruce Springsteen played Obama, didn't he?
I mean, I'm not a massive Bruce Springsteen fan.
Well, no, but he's not cringe. Like, he's clearly...
True, that's true.
He's clearly a big act and a popular guy and been around forever, you know. Yeah.
If anything, Bruce Springsteen is incredible for one reason only, is that he wrote a song about how America is shit and everyone plays it. They're like pro-America, like...
Yeah, honestly. Read the lyrics. Okay, no, firstly, learn to read, then read the lyrics... And then maybe try and decipher them, because when he says born in the USA, I don't think he means that as a compliment on this occasion.
Why?
Also, a very young Courtney Cox is in the Dancing in the Dark video.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the bit where he goes, "Hey, baby," and points to the woman in the crowd and gets her on stage. It's like 16-year-old Courtney Cox. It's a bit weird.
Well, there you go.
Anyway, all the latest pop news from 1979. You're very welcome, chat. Yeah, who should we go over to?
Well, I think we should go into Mooncat for the clout.
Cloutarinos, let's go.
Everyone go and follow Kevin Logan. That's KFLogan1875 on Twitch and Ploppy111 over on YouTube. I demand that you follow and subscribe because it is free on those platforms.
Indeed. Everyone go and follow No Justice MTG on the various platforms. Otherwise, I will curse you to the day you die.
Absolutely. Infinite curses shall be upon ye should you not like and subscribe.
True. Yeah, and I'll be back tomorrow with Christy, where we'll be ignoring things from America.
Woo!
We won't be covering that. Look, the news story is he got elected. Look, unless he gets shot or some shit like that, which I mean, it's going to be indoors because of the weather. Like, what's the news there? Oh, well,
Yeah.
the thing that you knew was going to happen happened.
Now president. Well done.
Yeah, meet the new boss, same as the old fucking
old
boss. Anyway,
Right.
on
See you
that
later,
note,
everyone.
free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone.